if you're hearing problems with the sound, it's probably on the clean feed. I'm back now though, and hopefully that can change. So if there's sound problems, that's the feed. I can't do much about that. I'm sorry, folks. Hopefully we can change things now. Have to pay extra for sound? No, I just have to be doing things in the background in the first game of the day, and sometimes we have tech issues with that. Oh, let's get back into the fight though. Seeing it's been a bit of a comeback from IG, but we'll see if they can get anything more than just that. JJ gets himself out. That's not a bad killing coming in from Gala. Sheer, currently alone in the front line, will flash out. Gala gets himself his E charge back up by getting some double taps on. Sheer getting really isolated here, and it feels like that teleport just left him completely in the lurch. FPX lose themselves their top lane and don't get anything in return. Wait, now it's gone again in terms of sound? Is sound coming and going? That's a little strange. I'm not so sure about that one, folks. Okay, if it's sound on Onivia's end, that might be on Onivia. So the way that we're streaming things today, typically what happens is I stream all 3 feeds from my PC. What we're doing for the last couple of days has been myself streaming my own personal Twitch and YouTube, and then Onivia taking on the stream for their channel, and that might lead to some other production issues. That's less important though. Then the Baron going down for IG. Don't necessarily have to worry about the engage coming through from... Hang on, that's not a great Zonius at all from Care. Puts the Equalizer over the top of the flash in. Means that Shadow steals it. The Equalizer helps burn it down. And Shadow will take a well-earned prize. Baron onto 4. Kashir had respawned in time. And the stolen Equalizer from Care helps it happen. The sound is super low. Is it? Why is the sound low, though? Put up to 3. So this is the replay of that. Trying to catch up with whatever the heck is happening in this. Okay. You only hear whispers. No idea why you're hearing whispers. If it's super quiet, that's on Onivia's end. I can ask Onivia about that. Okay, Dragon now getting started up. IG just lost himself the Baron. Will stop Soul going up to FPX. Gold is not that far apart, but IG, I mean, if they'd gotten that Baron, they'd be in a so much better place. Trying to sort out sound issues in the backline. So as far as I'm aware, this problem is on Onivia's end. Look, if the audio is a problem, that is not a me thing. That is an Onivia thing. I've asked Onivia about that. However, I don't have control over that on Onivia. So I don't have control over that. I'll have to wait until Onivia can fix that. Do I think IG can come back? Well, they definitely have enough power in the items on the Lucian to make things interesting. Lucian Nami is a pretty good combo later. Onivia should have fixed the audio by now, so hopefully that's changed things. Care pushing in that mid lane, using that Baron buff to good value. Rookie could flash forward for a stun onto Care, but he does have a little bit of mobility left with his own flash too, and the Zhonya's. 2 turrets fall. Inhibitor in mid lane. Inhibitor turret in mid lane, rather. In the bot lane in. A teleport in. Shy does have decently powered ultimate to throw at them with a level 16, 2.5 items. Gala trying to clear out as best he can. FPX stealing this Baron major, well, just win them this game. If IG had cleanly gotten that Baron, I think that's their, I think this is their game. The fact that Shadow is allowed to get into the pit, Care putting that Equalizer on top of it changes everything. Here is some German wisdom. Ich bin. Yeah, I think therefore I am sometimes. GG. Trying to dash forward and get something down. Just trying to push in both waves at once. FPX do so, and they get themselves the mid inhibitor. Baron buff largely very successful here for FPX. They only lose the Dragon, which is now up in 3 minutes. They'd have another chance at Infernal Soul. Cat takes the top scuttle. Uses up the Shinzao ultimate. Must have been timing out. The ultimate switch, you can steal. Not the best. You know what, weirdly enough, Tidal Wave has actually got a pretty good AP ratio and very good fight functionality. The slow across the team fight can be very, very good. The best ones being the Shinzao ultimate and the Equalizer, really. The Equalizer, less good when you don't have a burn item, you don't build the... Is Tibbers not great as a still? You don't get any passive importance. You don't get the stun with it. It's not bad, but it's not really the top tier, which is why you often see. Okay, Bubble misses. JJ caught out a little bit. We need to throw that ultimate care into the backline. Steals the Nami ultimate. We did say that can be particularly important, and that is actually not a bad AP wave. Cullen comes back through. Cat goes into the zonies. Can he survive afterwards? Gala, it is all on you. Get the kill into the Silas. That's the clone going down as well as we continue the fights.
Flash on forward from Gala there was phenomenal. Turnaround potentially going through as Asuma's looking to get some damage done on the Callista. Sheer trying to frontline on the other side. Reset from Shadow, who does try and have that Grand Starfall for the reset if he can get back. But interrupted, has to back away. Gala shielded again. Hops on forward. Another Ardent Blaze. The speed up there won't keep chasing. Ends up being the 1 for 2. But importantly, jungle is down. There isn't at least a smite to be needed right now.
Yeah, in 50 seconds, we can have that conversation again. Care has teleports and would be able to make it in for what would be an Infernal Soul fight. Reminder, folks, important series here for IG. Less so for FPX, because FPX are, already locked out of playoffs. No, not locked out of playoffs, but locked out of, like, the instant qualification into it. If IG win this series, they're in a good shot. That's a fantastic equalizer. That is a wonderful equalizer. Oh, it's fantastic. IG are fighting for a top 4 lock. It is between them and BLG now. JDG locked it just the other day. And the top 4 immediately go to playoffs. No kind of play-in bracket required for that.
That'll be the idea. In the river, go FPX. They can go again. They are at Soul Point. Important pickup for them here. 4K up, but again, the scaling gets a little bit dicey here with Gala starting to get to a very scary spot. We already saw what that equalizer could do in the last fight. All that Care had some flashy moments there. Can get quite scary. Shadow just reset. Has the Grand Starfall. Will be forced to join it. I'm assuming that was to pick up the Guardian Angel. Decimating smash used by Sheer. Looks to go on forward with the ult. In comes that Grand Starfall. It's on top of the Shine. He's knocked up his Shadow. But a 3 talent strike. Stolen Shinzao ult. Pop blossom to the backside. He's out for the count. So is Mako. This fight is a disaster. The Shine on the other side though. Running at Assume. Does so much work on that Rumble. Signal 2v2. Scond of Duck just shy. Electro Harpoon lands again. And the Shy holds the line at the back end of the play. The problem is, though, jungle's not there. They can go back to the Dragon.
Yeah, FPX, if they get this, they get the Soul as well. So even if IG steal it, it's not necessarily the game-winning objective for them. FPX have the advantage here. Sal's trying to hang around the corner. JJ being alive could change everything. Ultimate stolen, but it won't. That's the sucky one. If that hits, probably Sheer could follow up with that ultimate and potentially kill. That's a big miss from Cat.
Can you tell that Care really hasn't played that much Rumble? All the while, though, back towards Dragon we go again. Teleport in. IG on it. Starting up. Reset from Care has the teleport, but I think they're just giving it up. They can't get here in time.
And IG will get themselves that Dragon. Third Dragon now apiece. IG dragging this to the late game. FPX have had the lead for the grand majority of this game. Really helped out with the fact that there was that Baron steal earlier where IG started to make their comeback. It kind of means that IG will have to do a double comeback, really. They have largely played better around objectives. I think largely coming into the late game, they've team fought better too. Gala getting to this point of power is so scary now for FPX. Sheer is not necessarily going to be invincible. They are going to start up onto the Baron. They do have the Rend. Less impactful Rend because they don't get as many spears from the lethality Callista. The startup all the same. How good will this equalizer be?
Said it before in the LPL, I'll say it again. We go again. The Baron fight commences. Shadow secures it with the smite. Care goes golden. But the turnaround play as they go into the backside with Dway, trying to get some time. They'll lose Sheer at the back end of it, alongside Care. But Baron is still secured, and that'll have to do.
FPX losing to... This could actually end the game. Folks, this could end the game. 50 seconds? IG should be looking for a fight right now. They have Flash on Rookie, only a couple of people alive on FPX. I think even against the Baron buff, IG could look for an end hit.
They've got 5 members. They are shoving. How exactly will FPX manage the lack of wave clear? The front line's not there. Got 30 seconds to wait. You may well be right there. They're not going to keep going, though, because the minions have largely died. Potential TP angle in for the Shy if he looks to reset, who instead steps forward, tries to get some value as Dway uses that rocket belt as an option to help clear the way. He's going to try and hunt for something more. Equalizer down. Doesn't get the biggest tag for a second until Shadow gets stuck on it for a little longer than everyone else.
Okay, so IG not able to finish the game, which I thought they actually could do, especially with Rookie Flash. You've got to be careful of that. But this is one of the bonuses of the build, which Assume has gone for. Heavy Madra exists with the more of Mild Mortius, has got the spell shield, and largely staying at Q range, not auto range, because your Lethality Callista is the reason he went for this build. Going back to the actual Baron fight itself, well, this is a bit of a rear guard action. You're looking to get out with the Rend, and then hopefully just get yourself the Baron and out. You're not looking for a big fight afterwards. I think the Tidal Wave actually does a very good job to make sure that it's not just sheer dying for this, it's Care as well. If Care can get out and it's a 4-man defense, I don't think you lose the inhibitor even. I think you can defend well enough. The fact that they kill both solo lanes, very crucial here for IG to give themselves some silver lining for the Baron. 2.5 minutes now until the Dragon.
What can you do with this Baron? Of course, you already had that slight awkwardness of having your 2 solo laners dead in an important moment. Equalizer used around the red buff. Sheer is the one called out a little bit. Will ult away, and the blast cone from Shadow keeps him safe. That's a couple big ultimates traded on both sides. No unstoppable force. No unstoppable onslaught. Unstoppable force to be the Malphite ult. Not important not to get those two confused. However, it is throwing yourself bodily at the opponents in various different speeds and distances. The Equalizer was also traded, and I'll move off from random ultimate names.
So we're into the hyper late game now, folks. It is getting up towards 70,000 gold. We have potential soul on the table for either team because we've had a 6-dragon game. We've missed a bit of a quiet early game, Sam, as we were studying German. And God, I hate dative verbs. They are painful to me, Sam.
We were skipping ahead to B1 stuff.
Sam, it was
hard.
Sam, it was painful. It was. Ich habe Kopfschmerz. Gala currently alone in mid lane. Right, by the way, on the other side, Dway has himself the Nico, which has been almost permabanned away from him.
Yeah, very good.
Very rarely do people give him the Nico. That being said, the last series they also got it too, and they failed to win with it, sadly. FPX have been on a slump. This team, much like Team WE, found themselves a burst of form at some points, and then they've kind of plateaued afterwards. It is very hard as a team when you've got the underdog story, when potentially you don't have that same kind of individual star power compared to, you know, the top tier teams or whatever, to really get beyond those plateaus. And I think FPX, these kind of games, you can see that. You can see that actually, well, they can have good fights, but closing the game, that's a hard one. Okay, now you get to the hyper late game. You don't necessarily have those kind of just brawl, that raw brawn in brawling team fights to overcome a team like IG, even if you take them down early.
It's pretty tricky. GA, as we said, now done for Gala. It's going to be a lot harder to manage. Rookie's also got the stasis, the Shy. Very scary himself. Got himself Riftmaker and a few other things. He'd go looking there to see if we can get some value out of the stun. Care loses about 20% of his HP just incidentally. Looking for this tier 1 bot side. Look, he's still standing all this while. Sheer's gone in. Bomb Blossom from Dway. Dodged away from by Maker. Flash on out. In comes the Grand Staff. Well, they've turned it all around. Trying is assumed to get some value, but again, it's a lethality Callista. You're not there for consistent damage. And Rookie doesn't give a damn. He does give the ability to throw some fires of hell out, though. Eat sulfur, baby, is Sheer. Hit with the wind becomes lightning. It is absolutely apocalyptic out here as wind, lightning, and fire makes it look like September, the 21st night thereof.
Oh, it is. It's not the Phoenix Fire. It's the Brimstone and Sulfur. IG march towards the Nexus. They're dragged to hell and back, but IG will end up coming back in this game not once, but twice to win game 1.
That is a hell of an end game. Either way, it's Invictus Gaming who brawl their way there. FPX had their moments, had their opportunities, but couldn't clutch it out when it mattered the most. And in the end, the scaling proved a little too difficult.
like Yorick Akali cleanup, you have no damage. You have no consistent damage. If you don't get your initial burst, things fall apart. And with the Xayah coming in, that becomes much harder. That becomes much harder, actually. I can. Hey, Angie, good to see you. I was wondering if that would be something like the Kai'Sa, but the Xayah very good anti, disengage into this comp. Can have some issues with the Yorick, so you can't fly out to the cage with your ult. Eventually, I thought at one point your ult could allow you to cross walls. Obviously, that's not the case. It hasn't been for many years, but... Okay, so FPX, I think it's a very hard composition to play. I think it's a very hard composition to play. Much like we saw yesterday from Leave and NIP, if you're the one damage source, in this case, I guess the Misfortune, number of comebacks in the same game to bring them to 1-0. Let's see if they can finish it off.
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他们。
They're matching? Wait, which skins are these? Oh, they're using the Cosmic Dawn and the, Is it Cosmic... Wait, is it Radiant Dawn? Oh, I can't remember. I know what they look like. I actually can't remember the name of that skin. Interested to see how top lane goes. I mean, the Shy did lock in the Jax into the Yorick, which is a bit of a constellation matchup. Radiant Dawn is a Fire Emblem game? Right, okay. Cosmic Dawn and Cosmic Dust. I knew it was Cosmic something. I just didn't know what the other one was. Sire. Oh, do we have delayed sound? Might have to sort that out. Okay, folks, this is not that. I just wanted to let you know the screen will go black for 1 second. Wait, no, God, I gotta wait to see if there's level 1 now. Okay, we should be fine. Okay, I'm gonna very quickly press this just so we get the audio resynced. It's all fine. It'll restart now. Yeah, there you go. Means that the sound's more on the right thing. So it's not delayed. These are the tech issues which you've learned how to deal with over time. Don't panic. Nope, no one panic. No one allowed to. The Xayah, of course, a little low range to contest some of the early waves compared to the Misfortune has the double up. Oh, a headbutt into the wall. Mako not positioning well there. Mako hits the Q, waiting for that to come off, and does. It ends up having very good discipline on the summoners, meaning it is actually just an ignite for the chunk. No summoners used on IG. They do have the heal on Mako. Level 2 hit by Joy and Assume. Not great positioning there by Mako. You need to be very careful with that. Headbutt into the wall's nasty. That Q is important. That healing is very important. It means that the burst combo not likely now to come in from Assume and Joy, especially since they're under turret would have been unlikely anyway. JJ rolling across the rift. Rolling, and what? Okay. Let's hope he's more limp than a biscuit. Or no, less limp than a biscuit. Yeah. That's the one. Being limp is, I don't know, typically a bad thing when you're looking to hit people. Good farm collection by Gala and Mako, at least. Still behind in the laning phase. Rookie doing very well in mid lane. Rookie's Orianna, something that he's played since the start of his career. Very successfully, might I add. You've heard of Limp Bizkit. Now get ready for Flaccid Pancake. Thank you for that one, Pintius. That's a good one. Level 3 hit. Flash in. Gala doesn't flash away in time. Does have barrier. Can get the root back. And does so. Oh, the knockup misses from Mako. Very nearly a double knockup. Wait. No flash now. That's 3 summoners burn. And Shadow gets to go topside as well. Shy flashes out of that Q. And we'll be safe. I think the Shy, assuming that there was a hard trade on bot side, thought that, okay, well, bot lane's trading hard. Surely their jungler's there. Obviously not the case. Assume and Joy are doing that by themselves. Maybe thought JJ was a little closer as well. Again, not to be the case. Aftershock into the wall. Shadow happy to trade back. That Permafrost passive does a lot of work. Actually uses the Q for that. That's a long cooldown. I actually wonder whether the Shadow's gone a little too far there now. Doesn't have the passive there again. No flash from the Shy to confirm the stun. He's used his Q in. Care comes over. First roam from the mid lane of FPX. Gets them their first kill. Shid does have flash. Might be forced to use it, actually. Good Q for the healing away. That's a lot of summoners used for this now. Care has no flash. Rookie looking to clean up something. Has enough mana for 1 Q. JJ has to flash out. Does his Rookie. Now everyone's used their summoners that he misses. And FPX, I don't know if they have the cooldowns right now to deal with it, but they'll be coming up shortly. Because IG, well, they don't have anywhere to go. Shit.
to be a little careful. I mean, all of them need to be a little careful. Shadow's Q's going back up. That connects. I think that's kill. Doesn't connect there. W doesn't hit there either. Rookie gets a double Q. W, that's 1 kill. But Care comes back. He has energy. He doesn't have to worry about this stuff. And he has double buffs too. It'll end up being a 3-for-1 in topside. As the Shy goes a little too deep at first, and Care got the first run. I mean, that is just... that is just pure IG-isms. Why do you think you can walk away with that? Why do you think that there's a 3-kill Akali on the other side now? How are you going to play League of Legends into that? Ugh. Questions upon questions. Care, double buffs, roam across them. Oh, don't tell me he's going to go bully out JJ. There is no jungle down here just yet. Shadow is coming down. Care using this push in the wave to get some extra information. We'll spot the Gromp going down. Shadow will take the Scuttle Crab uncontested. Shadow coming around the back of bot side. I think I'll need to be a little careful. There's no flash on Galt. They'll be safe for now. Well, that's a problem for IG. If, much like Derby yesterday, if the Akali gets fed, can start pulling off some of those montage plays. Of course, yesterday it didn't end up leading to a win for Derby, and it might not here either for FPX. Step 1 is done. Not exactly sure if they're ready for the other steps just yet. IG playing as though they get paid per game. Jesus, man. Gotta go to 3 every series, baby. Jodo gets that Scryer's Orb to get some vision control on bot side. At least confirm there are no wards in Tribrush, etc. I have a fun fact. Hang on a second. Trade that. Rookie did have ultimate. I was wondering whether he was going to pull it. In fact, he probably still can. No level 6 for Care because he drops a little bit of XP on roaming. He needs to be careful here now, though, actually. Because he has no flash, and Shadow could have been hanging on either side of mid lane brush. Just safely clears out the wave. I have a fun fact about etc. and the like. I don't think it's actually strictly about etc. It's about other stuff. The Shy will get himself to play. The Shy doesn't have flash. He has a ward. Needs to not get cancelled out of this. Needs to be careful. And will just about get over that wall. Again, Baus, if you'd like to find your kindred here in pro play. The Shy is it. There are many such reasons as for why Cadril picked up a player very similar to his favorite player in pro. Shadow still on top side. The Shy quite low HP now, actually, because Shadow got a very good trade onto him. He does have... he has level 6. That's quite likely an ult coming over the wall. Level 7 hit by Shy, which will give him some extra HP. There's no flash from Shadow. Counter-strike used. That's a problem. Does have the ultimate still. Rookie's up here, though. And Flash has come back up for the Shy. He missed the Grandmaster's mites. Actually, Rookie by roaming here. Serving as a second jungler for his team. Will save his top laner. This is why Rookie has always been good with the Shy. Rookie is actually quite good at noticing the needs of his other lanes. He's often played like a second jungler. Now, in this case, might end up losing bits and pieces in the midwave. But IG have responded as a team. Ain't that clever? Because normally you'd expect, well, Rookie needs to pick up that midwave. Well, no, not in this case. Actually, what you can do is you can keep Rookie in top side. The Shy can recall, go bot side instead. He doesn't have the teleport just yet, so they will lose one wave. The grand total of this is still one wave loss, and it will be for the Shy losing that wave, but at least there's no death from the Shy. 3 grubs will go over to the side of FPX. But still, hey, it's worth highlighting these things. It's nice to praise teams when they figure out lane assignments and stuff like that. Now, the end goal is effectively, okay, how much farm is it possible to pick up across the map? And then trying to allocate it to as best as possible to the people that need it. Rookie doesn't have flash. So is anyone going to roam up to him to save him? Because, I mean, you need to teleport now. Now. Shockwave comes in. So they're just letting him die. Rookie goes down. It's actually Shadow which picks it up. The Shy didn't want to teleport into it. 3 grubs for FPX will help them take a plate down on top side as well. Rookie doesn't have teleport. I guess IG didn't want to commit the teleport and potentially lose the play anyway. They are pushing in mid lane. FPX committed just the Akali and the Alistar ults to their top dives. They still have Sejuani ult if they want to make a play elsewhere. Now, Jax is teleporting to top side. As Rookie goes towards bot side, allowed them to pick up an extra wave for that cannon. So they lose less than they could have done, I suppose, but that's the thing. Oh, he misses the minion there because there was a plant. Die Pflanze. JJ goes towards bot side and the Krugs. JJ and the Krugs, a band coming to a blues bar near you. JJ and the Krugs, we play rock and roll. 29.8 IGFM. Do you reckon we could make a radio station out of League of Legends teams? I think it'd be great. IG would just be, like, I don't know, it'd be like breakcore or something. What genre would IG be? It'd be pretty chaotic. A team like anyone's Legend, it has to be something like mathcore or something like really complex sounding, you know? Occasionally, IG's radio would just interrupt its broadcast of like heavy metal to just introduce like the clown car songs. IG just okay, it's playing like it'll play like, you know, like all of like your radio bangers. It'll be playing like, you know, yeah, it'll be playing like, I don't know, something like Breaking Benjamin or something, and just occasionally we have to interrupt this broadcast as it just something goes off the rails for IG. Grunge mixed with punk pop. I mean, I love those genres. I'm a big fan. The Shy actually doing quite well in this individual matchup, by the way. Gets a good trade onto the Sheer again. There's only one of him, and there seems soon to be none of him, actually. Jeja comes through. Has an extra bit of damage. The Shy picks up the kill, importantly so. Cat goes in towards bot side. But Mako's here to protect that side of the map. Now, the problem is there is an Alistair and a Sejuani behind the tower. Rookie, can he shockwave the wave? He shockwaves most of the wave, and will get to pick up a lot of that. Flashes out of the combo, and Mako with the quickness gets a great amount of CC. Dre is tanking the tower with his ultimate, but one more tower shot might kill him anyway, and indeed it will. Kill goes down. Fantastic delaying work coming through from Mako. Assumes that play, flashing into the play, and 2 go down. Scarlet used that flash already. Can't quite get Shadow, as it still will be a 2-for-1, all things said and done. I don't think there's any extra kills. Scarlet not going to take enough damage from that. Sheer has teleported in, though, and has flash, so he can flash wall for a Dark Procession if he wants. The Morning Mists don't connect. Still think they could have connected with the the Dark Procession to kill the Xayah there. So it ends up being a 2-for-1. Initially, I thought that was a great delaying play by IG. FPX call down, assume to finish off that play, though. And they do get the best of it. What happens during the rest of that? I guess in the global sense, the Shy still gets a kill before that. He's ahead in the Jax matchup. 1,000 gold ahead, by the way. Doing really well there. So initially, he lands. Just comboed on top by Mako. He gets good defensive play. Kaz still manages to get half of the HP from Rookie here, which makes this seemingly a very winning play. You have the Alistair ult to attack the turret. Flashes for the easier combo onto Rookie, but his reactions are good. Mako blocks out the Sejuani Q, importantly there too. This is really well played from Mako. Shadow still, though. Good enough damage with the W2. The base damage of Sejuani early game are actually very, very high, which allows the option for Assume to clean up. And sadly, Gala can't quite get one back. On the other side, Cad doesn't have flash, does have ult. Might need to use that to get out of the play. Hits him with a Q. Doesn't have to use that. So his ultimate. Good value there. The Shy, as we said, 1,000 gold ahead. Actually, he's doing very, very well with the Triforce Power Spike. Absolutely mullers Sheer there by Protocol popping the Grandmaster's Might. Is on the weak side, needs to be a little careful. Assume doesn't have a bullet time to chase onto Gala after this point, so while Gala loses the trade, he won't die to it. Bloodthirster for Assume makes things pretty difficult too. Hang on a second. Jeja does have flash and ultimate. Trade for ult to Gala. That is what we call cooldown economy. Trying to blow that longer cooldown of that Xayah ultimate to make sure there's a use for it later. Now there's no Xayah ultimate for something like the bullet time, and Gala must be very, very careful for the upcoming dragon fights. More important, I think, for IG to lose the Xayah ultimate rather than Sejuani lose her ultimate. It will give them an easier inroad towards the dragon. Cooldown economy, folks. IG is System of a Down, maybe. I was quite annoyed recently when Serge Tankian started promoting AI stuff. I would have thought him, of all people, would have known the negatives of that. But hey, whatever. Not my favorite. Someone check Nymaera's coffee for alcohol today? Yeah. Yeah. Well, hey, I actually don't drink. I don't drink. I learned that mistake many years ago for myself. It is not good for me. Yeah, not the best thing from Surge, really. I hope he backtracks on that. Sheer is still 1,000 gold behind, trying to pick up a wave here. Maker coming down, does miss with the W, but does hit with the quickness because it's really hard to avoid that. And Sheer goes down with it. Teleport in towards that bot side now from Rookie to confirm it. Be a demolish used on tower. Is that going to be first turret taken as well? Looks like. So FPX not able to get that part towards their feats of strength. I'm based. Nice. I live by, you know, I live for the approval of my audience, you know. Should really stop referencing Disturbed morally. They have not been in a very good state for a while. Oh well. I'm allowed one as a mistake, I guess. Right, Rookie has himself the Seraph's Embrace. Getting towards the... Oh, Archangel Staff going towards the Seraph's Embrace. Wait, if I'm base, does that mean everyone else can just channel recall and join? Yeah, exactly. If you just, like, learn how to teleport, you can join me, you know? Herald's now available on the top side of the map. So, this would be feats of strength for FPX. Not that I think that's necessarily a game-winning thing nowadays, or anything close to it. Might be an engage over the wall. Maker doesn't have flash. That's a great double combo. The stack from the bot lane is way too vulnerable. Should never walk up like that when you're approaching Fog of War. Gala and Maker should know a little better. Great instant pop over the wall to get that engage. Shy getting very good value out of this top lane matchup, though. Teleporting away from top lane now, realizing he's on the... Oh, careful, Samuel spilled that in the chat. Oh, that's nice coffee. God, that's nice coffee. Good coffee today. There's a place near us called the Blue Bean, which is damn good for coffee. If you're ever in Friedrichshain, look, Herald's taken, that's important. But if you want really good coffee, go to the Blau Burner in Friedrichshain. It is the best coffee I've maybe ever had. So, hang on a sec. They pinged the wall going down. Don't stack up together. No, I don't care about walking over it. I care about both of them walking over it at the same goddamn time. My dudes, that is not how you win League of Legends.
Wow. That is not great. And I'm not looking at Care. 6-0 into 8 stacks on this dark ceiling going. This could be a very unfun game. To be someone like an Orianna in a side lane. Hell, the Jax isn't going to enjoy this. The Xayah without ult is going to have a bad time. And that's without talking about the fact you've got the Yorick win comp.
Oh, if we could get a coffee sponsor for the stream. Oh,
my God.
That would make my life, folks. If anyone knows any coffee brands which do European sponsorship deals, you let me know, because...
We go through a lot of coffee. We would be phenomenal.
A whole lot of coffee.
Faces of a coffee
Shadows summoning the Herald on bot side. That will tank up tower aggro. Dway's here as well. The Shy, I mean, he has flash, actually. He uses the Grandmaster's Might. He's quite tanky, but there's just so much CC. Can he flash out for another Q? Might be able to guess that Q first. How'd the flash fail? Well, the Shy lives! The Shy lives!
Oh, the Herald charge! Force to flash away, but there's still a Kali in the back line! They've done all the hard work, and then the Herald from downtown to bring Care, who was anything but careful. Absolute reckless driving. And ends up hurting a few people. They are roll kill in the back of Lance. A shuriken flip. Can join it right back over. Could maybe now be a little bit too deep. Assumes still doing a lot of damage. Tried to flash on 4 for the auto and couldn't find it.
Oh, so close. If he'd actually activated that auto attack, Akali passive auto basically doesn't cancel. Would have got another kill at the end of that. Care is on a mission. He is one of the streakiest players in the LPL. When he's on his game, he can actually, and I mean this with genuine sincerity, Care can compete with the best mids in the league when he's on one of his hot streaks. Now, compete with them doesn't mean beat them, but he can compete with them. And in a game like this, you can see exactly what we mean. That last game on the Silas didn't quite get what he wanted, but his 7 kills on the Akali, Jesus! Such a heavy carry potential. Look, the Shy survives a very long time. He does a very good job of that. But IG, on their way to contesting for this, way overcommit. Gala poor positioning again, gets himself into position to get comboed by Dway. Gala's had a poor game so far on the Xayah, sadly for him. Sad at 1 and 2, 1,000 gold behind. He needs to do better, and there's a Medjai's for Care now.
And a completed Shadow Flame. He goes to the backline immediately. Can't quite find the Shuriken flip onto Rookie as his body block. We're still going to go on in and just re-angles his Shuriken flip with a perfect execution. That name's feeling quite apt right now. On the other side, Gala trying to throw down some orders, but it's not a lot of damage. Just Care steps on forward in the Twilight Shroud, rooted up there briefly, but everyone else trapped on retreat. headbutt back onto JJ means that Sheer can start to bonk him with the last right shadow. In a little bit of danger as they try to fight their way out of this. On the other side, though, look at Care. Continuing to fly off some of those autos. Locket shield onto Care, who will lose the Medjais. Finally brought low, but the rest of the team will pay for bringing the book out of library readiness.
Ends up being 1 for 4, but that one is very important. Big shutdown and Medjai stacks removed is worth noting. There was still a bunch of stacks gained during that fight, so he's at the 8 mark. It's not the worst could have happened there. IG, though, losing the Shy very early into that player's FPX, managed to get a clean combo from their Akali once again. Failed to have that ability to kind of stand and fight in the way that they would have liked to. Dragon is going to go down. There'll be a second one for FPX. And once again, we have an early and now into mid-game where FPX have found themselves some very big advantages. Starts with Care going on to Rookie, forcing IG into a defensive clump. This is really good from Dway as well. Basically just saying, okay, all right, I can zone off the rest of the team, give a little bit of space for Care to actually make some use out of that perfect execution. And then after that point, they say, well, okay, they don't have the Jax. Let's see if we can take a 5v4. And indeed they can.
Nice attempt here at some point from IG, knowing they can't get out. Well, let's see if we can break one side of the engage, especially as Sheer is kind of caught next to GG. And they try to run at someone, but assume it's safe enough right now. And then, despite a good impale onto this Akali, and they do try and get that kill. Not the cleanest moment there from Gala, but the thing is, the damage is done.
You realize,
let's get to run away.
I think he was basically melee range of the Alistar, saying, nope, I'm not getting comboed by that dude again. Alistar's headbutt, pulverize is on a very low cooldown. Rookie alone on the side lane. IG have been slower on the side lanes the entire game. Ult goes through.
Into the Glacial Prison. Mako's finally there. Heal into quickness, trying to buy some time. The bullet timer's there. Mikhail's as well. Kept alive. Shockwave to keep Dway under the turret. But he's still got the ult, which is forced to burn. But not bad in keeping Rookie alive there from Mako and the crew.
I'm not gonna, you know, I said that Gal is maybe struggling a little bit in this game. I think Mako has been excellent. I think Mako has been so good on this Rakan this game. Another player that's been very streaky. We talked about that with Care. Mako, we've normally known him as consistently high level. He's actually been a lot more streaky himself. He might be running into Care here, who's backing off from that brush, so it won't be the case. Atkan is, of course, still alive. Was briefly aggroed there by FPX.
So right off screen, is like, wait, is it dying? Like, no, it's just been aggroed.
Typically, I look at the icons at the top of the screen to say, was I really stupid and missed something? Like, sometimes you do have to question things, because there's so many things you have to track, especially when you're streaming it as well. It'd be a bit of a problem. Care doesn't have Flash, but does have a jungler to keep him safe.
Also a Rocket Bolt and a Shuriken Flare and a Twilight Shroud. So he ended up being quite safe in the grand scheme of things. Just a little attempt there forward. No one gotten anything like soul pointers yet, of course. We've got 3 minutes until the next dragon, so a little while before that's off. But again, FPX with a 4k gold lead, looking to use these moments before things like Baron and the next dragon spawn to continue pressing around this Atakan as a potential amplifier to their already fairly significant lead.
Duo recall from Gala and Mako brings them back to base. Atakan started now while they're on that reset. The Shy does have teleport. Still 1,000 gold ahead of his opposing match, which is important. Jax being ahead of the Yorick is not something you expect at this point in the game when the outer turrets are largely down. Do they want to contest? Blue Orb will be able to spot that out. The Shy could teleport up if he's needed.
Lots of vision for FPX there. When I know about JJ is, on the other side, IGC very little indeed right now. Dwayne now looking for an angle. There is K. Goes on into the backside. Gala's in danger. Finally goes in for the sky. It's actually pretty good. So he gets hit by the Glacial Prison on its way down. And Kev gets him on the way out. Will die for it though. The Shy in the backside. Trying to do a fair amount of work, but caught on the bullet time. Forced to flash. Stunned up. Trying to turn around. The last right to come on through. Still getting a lot of autos down. Counter strike. Gets another one back to Shy value. Mako flashes out. JJ driven into the wall. Doing some work, but it's just not enough follow-up. They can't keep trading. A valiant effort, but soon gets to throw a few more shots out the back end of it. And it's still an FPX win, but credit to IG. They made it close.
And credit to the Shy, trying to pick up the pieces of another poor Gala team fight. Gets hit by another free Alistar combo while he has his ultimate available. It was a flash combo from the Alistar. You need to position not so clumped up with your team, I think, as Gala. I think there have been numerous times now where he's been caught very easily for IG, just leaving IG without their AD carrying their primary source of DPS. Atacon will go down, FPX will earn themselves that one. And credit to them for picking off Gala time after time, making sure this Zaya can't control the team fights.
Let's have a look at this one again, because the follow-up from Care is brutal. Of course, he loses his life for it, but the AD carry, in some ways, you're quite happy there. It's a great flash combo. Dway on things like the Nico, on things like the Alistar, has always been a menace. It's a good impale, in fairness, from JJ, but Gala, you can't get hit like that. Not by both faults. It's frustrating stuff. Yes, I know there's a lot of people coming for your head, but you expect better.
that's going to be a problem if that continues. This Xayah hasn't really had a clean team fight yet. It's had, the one around bot side was I guess, better, but I guess at that point he was still, as a team, not in the best place. The first time we see a good Xayah team fight might be the time where IG actually can turn this around. He's actually caught by another Sojourner on his half health already.
Heartsteel proc. 280 odd stacks on there for Shadow. He had a solid third. Gala's HP with an auto always feels a little bit scary. Shy on the other side will counter-strike, gets a shield courtesy of the command Protect, and is largely safe.
So, Rookie will save his top laner there with the shield. Both him and Mako doing a good job of adding some extra shields and heals into the back end of plays. Dragon now coming in the next few seconds would be soul point for FPX, not the soul itself, of course. I always feel like I need to clarify when I say, oh, it's soul point. Sometimes I think people just assume, ooh, that's soul. It's not. It's the third dragon. IG. Do you have the tools to contest, though? Gala managed to recall. Is largely very high HP, and IG can maybe play around the full complement of abilities from IG.
So, Dragon coming on it. He started up here as they do go for that headbutt. Shockwave is very nice on the backside. Gets assumed down to about half. We'll need to hit something to heal up on that. Sheer also being tanked pretty scary. That means FPX a little split off here as Joy also forced to ult. That's a really good start to the play there from IG. Great shockwave into the combo on the Dragon, courtesy of Feather Caller, and Smite gets him that. Shadow forced to flash away. The Shy looking for an angle. JJ gets a stun onto the wall. Good Stonyas though from Care, buys him some time. Sheer nearly low. Doesn't quite fall though. And the turnaround with the Arctic Assault means that that will be the kill onto Shy at the very least. Glacial Prison onto Sheer. Back away himself, looking to try and get a zoom, and they do. That's way too far. On the other side, Care goes down as Rookie picks him up. Dwayne now in danger, and FPX, I think they might have fumbled this.
I think they have. Rookie will be able to jump forward for another kill. That's going to be, what, a 3-for-1 plus the Dragon to IG. And it started with a great shockwave out of Fog of War from Rookie. Now, he doesn't end up doing necessarily all the damage which wins the team fight, but it means that FPX positioning isn't really what they want it to be. Rookie, the master of Fog of War for mid laners here in the LPL, does a great job there using that shockwave to buy his team the advantage.
So, Baron's up, and Invictus Gaming could theoretically have run at that. I think it might have been a bit risky, and understandably they won't absolutely flip it here. Still though, they stop the Dragon stacking, they get some more kills on some important members, and
the Medjay is empty now.
Yeah, Medjay is indeed empty. Got to pick up this turret here. Shy just needs to do an additional bonk, and it should be about gone. Got that demolished already stacked.
They may as well kill an extra couple of minions too. Why not? Get some more efficiency out of it. They'll be able to hit the mid lane turret as well.
That's
Shy.
a great sequence of play.
It is. They get Dragon, bunch of kills, top lane outer, mid lane inner, and suddenly the gold lead is basically none actually between two teams. Shadow needs to be a little careful there if you fly into a X-Star's impact. You get stunned into that wall. Doesn't have the flash because of course he used that in the last fight. FPX, they're reeling now. You couldn't win a fight from when you were significantly ahead of the game. Now, of course, Care is still ahead of the game, but a lot of that value is in Medjay stacks too. So even then, less than it was beforehand. Feels a little bit reminiscent to that first game where, you can get ahead of the game, but actually their late game team fighting objective instincts are just not up there with the better teams in Group percent.
We'll note, though, Shadow is quietly a very damaging Sejuani. Note the Zeeks and note the number of Heartsteel stacks at this point of the game.
Jesus! Yeah, okay, that's a very good point, actually. I mean, Shadow's been absolutely mashing people. He's going to get some more as well, actually. Goes straight through the Guardian.
415 stacks! Glacial Prison will be immune by a good Zhonya's activation. Headbutted into the wall. Can't quite follow. Turn around! 3-man impale! Quickness! Grand entrance! Bullet time trying to buy some space in the back end of it all. Trying to get some damage down its way. Trying to play full body contact. Does actually prevent the follow-up on the Shy. And split up as a result. Does die. Turnaround damage as the deadly plumage allows Gala to keep running at the opponents. Assuming danger. Have to flash. Sheer also in danger. That dark procession was pretty good though to delay people. Mako into the backline with the grand entrance. Needs to back away now with the turnaround. My god, the Heartsteel proc. Flashback as they try to get some damage with the Feather Core. Can't quite do it. Backline. Goes Care. Can't quite get as many as he was hoping.
If Care had those Medjay stacks, he's killing another two there. Care punishes the overchase. IG largely had an okay fight there, but the overchase looking for a little too much. JJ is alive, does have a little bit of regen coming through from his jungle item. He has to use that Q over the wall, potentially looking for a steal, but his smite's on cooldown for now.
Yeah, steps on forward to the shield, courtesy of the Bastion and the command protect, but they get the Baron. I'd love to see that replay because it looked like IG had found a great moment, and then Dway buys so much time of what should have been a 3-man impale into death.
Yeah, I mean, the Shy has a good play at the start of this, taking a strong trade versus Sheeran hopping out of the Dark Procession. Zonya's onto the Sejuani ultimate. This is a good initial play from the Shy, who ends up kind of disengaging quite well too. This Impale is godlike. That's fantastic. But you can't fall onto it that well because of the combo coming through from Dway. Rookie would have loved to get a clean shockwave onto that there. Does end up getting it afterwards, but it's just delayed a little bit in terms of that extra CC for Garlet getting to play in XYZ. Speaking of Garlet, he really feeling it after this point, trying to run forwards. Him and Mako in a huge distant cover, thinking they can finish off. Shit, this is the point where it's too much, though. You've gone very far forward from Mako, and it leaves that opening that Cow was looking for.
Try to get the kill there onto the Misfortune, but unfortunately Mako gets hit by a Love Tap and a Heartsteel proc, and is now non-existent. Now 470 stacks on this Heartsteel.
That is that's a very tanky Sejuani. And Gal, you know, does have those 3 items going on 4 with the Infinity Edge in waiting. Doesn't have it just yet. It'll be very important. FPX opening up that gold lead again, using that Baron buff to try and see if they can claw themselves back into the lead.
DJ comes driving through some walls. There's the control ward spotted. Shows just shy on Mako. Could have been interesting. Serpent's Fang picked up by the Misfortune, by the way, 4th item. Want to be able to deal with some of the shields coming on through from various members here.
Yeah, I mean, it applies to Seraphs, it applies to the Command Protect, it applies to the Rakan shields as well, and of course the Skarner. So between all of them, yeah, you know what, you're likely to hit everyone. Nice to be able to shred off some of that, even though we can't passive deny it a little bit. Really trying to wave clear as best he can now. And IG, I think the question still remains, can Gala have himself a clean team fight? Now, it's not all on him. It depends how easily Care can get onto his case as well. If Care is in good position, it is very hard for Gala to fight. This side needs to be doing a lot of DPS. On the other side, FPX, they can struggle to have DPS, but they're so far ahead of the game in regards to this Akali, they haven't needed it as much as I would have thought.
Mako loses about a third of his HP to a Sejuani auto, and you know exactly where you are in the game as 500 stacks now hit. All the while, and it turns around, Gala does ult that one. Stays alive, takes a little bit of damage from the Frostbot on the ground as they turned on to Sheer a little bit there with that Counter-Strike turnaround, but the little pandas start running at them in their ghoulish fashion. JJ gets an ult, but it's onto a single member turnaround from Mako, looking to find an angle, goes in with the quickness. Dway rooted up, but still has that unbreakable will. Unlike Futurama, his body is indeed as unbreakable as his will. Sheer jumped out a little bit. Eat up, Boulder. Eat up, Heeble.
The Boulder has changed his mind. It goes forwards. The Shy uses that counter-strike again, can hop out. Late game Jax does have the ability to maneuver around the Dark Procession quite well. And it's still only 400 gold behind. Shin never really got an individual matchup in this lane. Dragon will get started up, but it's not the Soul. IG claimed a couple before that point. And folks, we might be headed towards a late game scenario yet again. FPX, 7,000 gold ahead. A lot of that is in mid lane and in bot lane, really. It is those 2 carry roles, which is a bit of a problem point for IG. Luckily, they do have the Jax who's heading towards late game. Perhaps the Shy can carry some of these fights. We are getting to the point where 3-4 item Jax can just become godlike in the backline. And the Shy has been team fighting pretty well on the pick so far.
So, with that in mind, what is our next port of call? As Dway is a little bit deep there by himself. He's swift enough on this Alistair at this point. Just get to walk away. Celestial Opposition makes this one. We now have a look instead. A load of pings coming on down. 2 minutes until the Baron. So it really is just set up right now. Map control more than anything else. Long time before another dragon spawns. 4 or so on that one.
Another bonus here for IG. We are getting to the point where FPX is capping out on gold. You are getting towards full build on the Akali and the Misfortune, where your gold leads are. While most of the time you think, oh, it's when the whole team of the enemy team has full items, that's when you start losing gold. Let's be honest, your gold lead is within mid lane and bot lane. If you hit full items, your gold lead will start to get shrank effectively with every wave that the enemy carry ends up getting through. Now, Rookie, he's on, components towards his 3rd item, whereas Care has 3.5. He actually might end up selling his Medjai's for that death cap, actually. I think that'd probably be valuable at this point. Medjai's, what you normally want to do is get ahead of the game, stay ahead of the game, and make use of that item as it goes through. The Zoom does have full build now, though. He won't be getting any extra more value. I think he'd like to keep himself the boots. Sometimes we see Misfortunes go away from that, but I think in this game, the move speed to get in position around the map quicker does make a lot of difference. Whereas Gala, he can start catching up now in terms of gold, even though the number on your bottom of your screen might be telling you otherwise.
Pings come on through. Gala autos a ward a few times, takes that one out. Has the Immortal Shield bow done for Misfortune. Another shield to try and keep herself up and running. The other side, though, Gala's not exactly miles off a 5th item either. He's pretty damn strong as well.
No, look, if there is a clean team fight from the Xayah, the gold at the bottom of the screen doesn't matter. We are at that point where, you know, if you're playing into the Xayah and you get feathered, it's going to hurt like hell. Of course, there are some other things in there too, that the Heartsteel stack differential is actually very important. Shadow is damn tanky, very tanky. You technically have infinite scaling with this. He has so much HP, and yes, the Skarner is very, very tanky too in his own way, but he's 2 levels down, not got nearly as many stacks. Shadow is diffing in the jungle right now in terms of overall fight value.
You get that big proc onto someone valuable, like say you take 20% of Gala's HP off an auto, that feels rough. Add in a permafrost proc, and suddenly you really did add it to a lot of the woes that IG have been experiencing. Again, game playable for IG, despite the goal total being scary. More a question of execution at this point.
Oh, Shy gets it.
Some fumbles, shall we say, from FPX at points. That's actually the Maiden split off here as well. I think the Maiden just dies here, and that could be significant.
And now, this is the point where you can actually look. Hang on, the Shy can look for a 1v1 here. He actually can do. You can contest for that scuttle. Inhib on bot side is going to go down because Rookie also came down just to shadow the Shy. I can understand why he does that. They do have both have teleports. Baron is going down. Remember, they do. Hang on, Kaz onto Gala. That's a problem.
Oh, he's into the backside. Gala to try and buy some space. The Impale does land though, and Kaz is about to press his on. You see, Carly doesn't threaten Gala properly. Glacial Prison's only onto the Rakan. On the other side, the Shy trying to find an angle. His permafrost, his grand entrance onto Shadow, who's tanky, but I don't know where he's that tanky. Punted back out of the place somehow.
This is the fight,
and they can fight the fight. Sheer faces Sheer gold again. Dway in danger, goes down. Gala's flashed over the wall. Assume goes down as well. Misfortune is her name. A triple to Gala, and the Baron is up.
What a set of peeling plays from Invictus Gaming. Finally, Gala gets a fight where he can stand and use those razor-sharp feathers to tear through the Phoenix, ripping the feathers out of their wings, putting them into their hat. That'll be a Baron. It'll be an objective bounty as well. And that is a minute until the Dragon, while there are still death times in FPX. This is the fight that IG have been waiting for the most part of this game.
I want to know how Kerr got caught. He thought he found the perfect angle. They don't know he's there.
So Kerr is not seen. I guess he ease over the wall here. He doesn't have that to land onto Gala, and he gets hit immediately by Nyxtal's impact. Just goes too close to the Skarner. Very good press from Jeje. Instant wall stun into the ultimate. Means that he is just completely taken out of commission. Doesn't have something like a QSS to escape that combo, and while the Sejuaniel afterwards is trying to buy a bit of space, that actually leaves Shadow, as he positioned for that, out of position. It's just running it back at this point. You don't have that position to really do that much work on the Misfortune. At this point in the game, your bullet time is down, and you can't finish off even someone like that Jax who's going through that counter-strike.
The Dragon we go. Soul point available. Shadow from the back of the pit. Taken by the Feather Pull combo. That'll do as a fake Rende. Shadow now hit with the Impale. And it's looked like barbecue pork for dinner, people. Shadow gets a bit of a heal there for a second, but he's dead as well. Another kill over to the Shy. And I think FPX time is done.
I think it is. We've now had a 7,000 gold swing in the last 5 minutes or so. That's what the peak of the gold lead was from my memory. Maybe even a bit above that. IG now basically back to even. IG have that full item now on Gala. Yes, I mean, they technically is even in gold too, so I guess it doesn't even matter on that point. We have Rookie, 10-stack Dark Seal, almost full build. And the gold leads we were talking about before, saying, well, okay, eventually FPX will get caught up to. That has now become a reality, pushing on multiple towers. The sky's the limit, and I guess the Shy's limit too. Combo onto Gala, who does headbutt in time this time.
Bullet time is okay, but not fantastic. Dway back away. Did a great job in that last fight of headbutting the counter-striking Shy out of the backline. Could have been a bit of a disaster. But it's still going to be the inhibitor broken. It's still going to be the base broken in multiple locations. This one is tricky.
One of my favorite things about this goddamn Invictus Gaming team is they can have some shaky games. And I think Gala had a shaky game before this. I think that we've seen it plenty of times from Rookie, Jeje, the Shy, any number of these members. They can fool you for 30 minutes that they aren't players with great ceilings. And then you'll have fights like that from Gala and JJ. I mean, I guess JJ and Make have had good games in general. But Gala finally had himself that one good fight saying, yeah, okay, this is what I could have been doing the whole goddamn game. Just saved it for later. Entertainment value comes first.
Shadow's 2-level lead has been evened up. JJ feeling a lot happier. And yeah, you've got this Sejuani who's doing her very best to be tanky, but you need this Akali to be threatening. This is a couple fights in a row where Care hasn't gotten the value. He sold the Medjais, going towards the Void Staff last, and I don't blame him at this point. But it does feel like unless Care is eviscerating 2 people, the extended fights are tricky when you've got this Orianna who's got her own Medjais now, the GA now on Gala who's full build himself, the Shy is a level 18 Jax. That is not a fun fight to be in a longer than 20-second spree.
Yeah, this is the point where Jax is just Exodia, and one of the reasons why you do always want to have this pick in the back pocket. It gives you another carry threat, and yes, the Yorick's all well and good for getting gold out of side lanes. Let's see you do it in the 5v5. IG walking towards the base now. They don't have the Shy quite with
off-white battle.
What?
It's the, let's see, Paul Allen's top lane.
I have no idea. Oh, okay. Well, no. You've lost me, Sam. Just like FPX lost their gold lead.
Okay, fair enough. I was going for the American Psycho reference.
Oh my god, Rookie has some Medjais now too. Sam, that's more important.
I said that too.
This is more important. No, Sam. If I don't recognize it, Sam, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So you have to work by my object permanence. If I don't see or hear it, it actually doesn't exist.
All right. I'm not real. You know that, right? I'm a figment of your imagination. You've been casting by yourself for like several years now.
Alex, you have to wake up.
Yeah. It's just life on Mars and Ashes to Ashes all over again.
By the way, fantastic TV shows. Absolutely watch those ones. Level lead starting to get disintegrated between Shadow and JJ because Shadow's also hit max level now as well. All of the leads which FPX gained over time coming back to even, and IG, they were winning from behind. Imagine how much easier it is when they actually get some footholds in this game.
Wave's gone forwards onto Ascana, who takes nearly negative damage. Congratulations, you took a shield and 10% HP off him.
Yeah, that was an engage of all time. The whole point of FPX's team comp has been, can we just invalidate Gala from team fighting in the most important ways? That has been the grand majority of the ways they've won their team fights. Gala not being able to do that much. Care was trying to see if he can get a cheeky interrupt. Can't do so. Would have been on vision anyway. You're now at a point now where I don't think that is something which you can easily do. There's a GA, all of the summoners and ultimates available from IG, and of course the Mikhails and Mako too, making it even easier to shrug off some stuns. Of course, doesn't get rid of suppressions or knockups or anything, but FPX can struggle to land them onto Gala at this point. A minute until Dragon would be sold for either team. IG, they are in the driver's seat now.
Watch Gala absolutely giga in the next fight now. I feel like it's written in the cards. Invictus Gaming will never do what they're supposed to do. Shadow steps over the wall there with the Arctic Assault. He's been trying, bless him. Nearly 600 stacks on the Heartsteel. He's quite literally got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,500 HP on the Sejuani.
That is absurd. And the thing is, it won't even matter because IG actually have the champions and the items to kill a tank.
Yeah, they do.
FPX, how does FPX kill tanks? Realistically, it's sheer wailing on them, and occasionally a bullet time will take them down a little bit. But bullet time is not an anti-tank tool. It's just not. Especially when you have something like, when you've got the Lord Dominus Regard, it's fine, but it just doesn't feel like you can shred through tanks in the way that you need to.
I mean, you have to have Strut active and an Alistair standing on top of you so you can stand an auto without being interrupted. Because you don't have safety as Misfortune. Not really. All the while in the picture-in-picture, we can see Dragons going down. That's Cloud Soul to Invictus Gaming. You know what you love to give to people like Jax and Rakan and Skarner? Move speed on R button.
Look at the movement Soul's in that. They were looking for potentially a cheeky flank teleport. IG, this is, again, when you have a group of players like IG, much like Weibo last year as well, when they also had the Shy, Shao, Chris, when you have players who've been around for a while, it's very hard to play this smoke and mirrors against them. Their instincts in hyper late game are second to none.
They know all the tricks. They've done it themselves. Forced the flash out of Tway there. Didn't want to ult on the Impale. Still be the ult for the ult. Could potentially be problematic. Rookie with the Elixir of Sorcery running. Will hurt. But without due Shockwave. They're walking over the ball there. I'm a bit worried. Glacial Present is wide. Rookie will shield themselves. In the back line goes Shadow. Can't quite steal the Dragon. Baron, I apologize. Oh! It's much better. That one hurts as it fell around the world. FPX have their kneecap shattered. Courtesy of the R button press from Rookie, whose name has never been more of a lie. The 44th minute has just crested, and Invictus Gaming are done with this game.
Yeah, that is an MVP fight from Rookie. Shockwave signed by Rookie. because that's the end of the game. And on that tangent, we'll head towards the Nexus.
Well, all we know is he's called the shy. What a Jax game. What a rookie game. Of course, on top of it all, Mako weren't bad on that Rakan either. They had to work for it, didn't they? They had to battle and scrape and...
On the team, the Nautilus vaguely does that, but falls off very hard in that tankiness late game. So Chris on the Alistar, I think, would round out that composition quite well. Now you have the temporary front line of Shin's ultimate and the Alistar, both of them just kind of going into hyper tank mode for that crucial quick skirmish.
I also really rate Alistar into the likes of an Annie or a Pantheon who really want that initial burst of pick CC. They don't have follow-up CC, right? You blow your shield off, you blow your passive stun on the Annie, and then Alistar gets to press R and cleanse out of it. In fact, we saw that just last game where it was Chue on the Alistar, baited out an Impale, sat in it for a little while, got dragged towards the enemy team, and went R flash W. Like, you can do that on the Alistar, and that can be quite valuable here in those mid-game fights.
I think BLG have walked away with a strong playmaking draft. I think that Knight having Annie has always been just a touch of goal from the left hand, the golden left hand himself.
Versus Billy Gaming. Butts in seats, folks, eyes on screens, and the crowds will be yelling a little louder.
10秒到达战场，碾碎它。
LP Sports always there with a fairly solid fan base, but you get that when you have the likes of Jackie Love and even Crisp, right? The guy is a very handsome man and has drawn quite a lot of fans, much like Watch back in the day for the idol impression he likes to pull off.
Top Esports coming back from first stand took a huge hit in terms of reputation.
Yes, they did.
In fact, actually, their first series back, the crowd mics were actually muted by the stream to try and, I think, spare the blushes of Top Esports, because actually a lot of people were not cheering for them. The cheers died out. But look, they are clearly best team within Group Ascend based off of their form. Now, they have dropped games. However, look down there at the bottom of the map, bottom of the screen, and still have some belief in BLG, and you'd be, hard-pressed to go against it. BLG had that bit of an aura behind them again, saying, okay, second round robin. They went on a, 5-win streak or something like that. 6-win streak. Only just losing to JDG, which might rock the momentum a little bit. See if there's trouble in the honeymoon period. Wrestle over this early laning phase. Elkanon versus Jacklove and Crisp is a real top-tier bot lane matchup within the LPL.
Very much is, and I understand in the pre-game they're also looking at Cream v Knight, the 2 #1s. Damage per minute carries in the league, also doing the gold share at the end. The KDA is phenomenal, and that's fantastic. Of course, Cream having a great split, but also he's on the best team in the league, so sometimes those numbers are a little easier to come by. I think for the likes of Knight, it's often felt like he's doing that in spite of BLG suffering at the beginning of the split, and he's been on rare form of late, and it makes this matchup in mid as well another one of those really key matches.
Hang on, Knight's in rare form? What are you calling? Knight, this is just Knight for my friend, my brother. Knight is just that guy, and for me, that's why he's MVP of the split. I think for me, I don't think BLG will be anywhere close to where they are without Knight's 1v9 performances across Group Ascend, despite their problems before the jungle change, and even some of them afterwards as well. Knight has been a force unleashed for BLG. Top Esports need to make sure that this guy doesn't take over the game. And as we said before, Annie is something which he has done that on multiple times. I want to see if Top Esports can put some pressure onto him to make sure he falls behind the game.
He might have given a slight pause there, but I don't know if the feather pull would have been quite enough there to keep Jackie rooted, so that's not going to come on through. No. Love that you call the Force Unleashed there. Maybe don't give that man a Wii remote. We'll start pulling Star Destroyers out of the sky to those of you who remember that particular game. And,
hey, well, Top Esports have some stars on their roster. BLG have a Star Killer. Was that a cannon menace? I think it was a cannon menace for Jackie. Shame on the...
Shame. Minus 1. Turn around, though. Good chunk onto Jackie, who's not having a lot of fun. That On's been finding some good engages, actually. Not really being punished by Crisp at all.
Well, what happened there is Chris punished Elk instead of On. So what you'll see there is On went in, Elk was CC'd, so he couldn't immediately pull the feathers back. That's the most important part of that trade, because it ends up meaning it's just the heal blown instead of a flash or a barrier or something like that, which could have been a little more scary. Don't want to double up here, actually, On and Elk. This could be a bit of a problem. Did you have the Guardian?
Elk doesn't have any mana is the other side of this, though, which can be a little problematic, and it's still Jackie with the shove. Kanavi down here has got the ward. Kanavi bot lane early, say it ain't so.
He's been doing that a lot this split now. At first stand, it was something that he was punished for. They see base run on Raptors. Their vision control has been good, but Kanavi's also been seen by that Tri-Brush ward as well. Around first stand, around Winter, I was saying actually the big weakness of this team for top esports was, look, they're never going to help their bot lane early, and bot lane don't play as though they're not going to get help. So there was a disconnect between the expectations of jungle and bot lane, and teams could punish them. In fact, they did at first stand. It's one of the reasons why top esports were bluntly embarrassed at that tournament. Kanavi has been doing a lot better now to be more responsive towards that side of the map, whilst also retaining some individual agency too.
I think it's possibly slowed down some of his absolutely insane snowballs here and there, but bluntly, when you're playing around likes of Jackie Love and 369, dropping a camp, 2 camps in terms of your speed probably is worthwhile in the grand scheme of things, because again, you've drafted the Rumble, you've drafted the Misfortune, hell, even the Azir into the Annie's getting good shove. You've got the Prio, track the enemy jungler, use that information, and the priority have to get early leads.
But that hasn't actually led to an early lead is the issue for me. Single Scuffle. Kanavi took some time out of his path to go bot side instead. Beitron didn't. He got a clean recall. Kanavi was stopped on his recall. So while top esports had the early information from Cream and Kanavi, you know, pushing in and putting wards and raptors, XYZ, BLG actually walk away with a slight camp advantage onto Beitron, and BLG have not been punished in their lanes because that Knight should be recalling just out of vision of that, and does so. Cream doesn't have level 6 just yet, actually. He needs to be a little careful here. There could be a tip has dropped onto his head.
A bit of a shield courtesy of the Shifting Sands. And we'll be alright for now. We'll be level 6 shortly. Should get it on this wave, but Knight has got the stun available, but uses it on the wave here.
Really wants to clear it out. Now the problem is Cream could actually shuffle him back in. That's why Beitron's coming across mid now, because there was actually a shuffle angle. Cream's now going to hold the wave. 2v2 starts.
Offside on. It's a bit of a passive heal there. She should be alright with that Gleaming Quill Q as well. So this ends up being a little bit of a scuffle over the wave, not too much more.
My big checklist for this game in the favor of, or well, of either team, I suppose. The biggest things which I need to keep an eye on are laning Brawn and then the early skirmishes. Laning Brawn has actually gone very evenly so far. See that top esports BLG trading as good as they get across all of the lanes actually, but then the early skirmishes come second, typically influenced by that laning strength.
Jackie Love confounds meteorologists everywhere by making it rain with a pair of guns. All the while, Kanavi flashes away as they go whack on in. On has to flash out as well. Beitron knows under with the shield bolt. Crisp in danger. Bird to his namesake. Down comes Knight as well. Got the passive nearly stacked. Can use the Molten Shield for the speed up. Look to get onto someone valuable here. Remember, Jackie Love no cleanse on this build, so could get very, very jumped very, very quickly. Can they catch someone out here? Kanavi, not level 6, falls back towards the turret. Turns around the damage. In goes Tibbers. He's bright and pink. And it's Beitron with a shield vault who secures the kill on the jungler.
Oh, this is going for a bad to earth. Jackie Love has flash and barrier. Can he get one back?
Nice attempt. Can't quite get enough. Follow! Until the turret shot follows all the way onto On, who doesn't battle dance out in time.
Last tower shot comes through. Hang on, is there going to be a teleport behind? There is. Here comes Rumble, who has level 6. Elk might need to flash out of this one.
Beitron also now potentially in danger. They don't want to rush it.
Okay, they're safe. I was wondering, that teleport means they can pick up an extra wave, which means that 369 is getting something. So, early laning strength and the brawn of these early skirmishes going in favor of BLG here. Very good read on what they can achieve in the 2v2. I think Elk and On do a great job there of staying alive long enough for their roam to make more of a difference on the big survival there. It's very, very important. Crisp outplayed in the support matchup, and of course Knight had that first roam. And the Annie, we said, it's a big playmaker. He's been one of the best players on this in the world previously. Gets a play early, which is very important.
On goes in, gets headbutt pulverized, but of course it's still Rakan with a lot of slipperiness to his champion pool. I don't know why I said that like Alan Rickman, but there we go.
That's a very good question.
There we go. We'll look back at the replay here. As they go on in, and they kind of regret their choice quite fast. A lot of flashes blowed in intriguing ways down here.
Yeah, so, I mean, the 2v2 has been very well kind of balanced between the two of them. Kanavi makes the first entry. It's the second time he's gone towards that bot lane. But Kanavi realizes, I can't walk into bot lane in the same way that I'd like to. Chris tries to ignore, try to interrupt the E long enough to get a clean kill. Can't quite do so. That's the biggest play in this, because it means that suddenly you don't have that extra disengaging force, the extra ability to stop a dive coming through. And Knight's got the first roam. Cream is trying to recall and get some value, but Knight gets so much more value. Oh, pushed out.
Goes up into the sky. In comes the Pantheon. Kanavi with a good Crescent Guard, though. Buys a lot of time. Crisp will die. Beitron flashes out to safety. The shuffle comes on through, but On still going to go down eventually as the Misfortune picks that one up. Cream trying to get a couple autos down. Can't quite. And, of course, they pick up that additional kill. It's a 2-for-1.
Oh, it's going to be a stun coming through from Knight as well. Elk could potentially go a little further, taking up one tower shot with the Tiv as Jackie Love forced way back. And that means that Jackie Love will not be able to claim the next wave. Again, the early skirmishes going well for BLG. When top esports lose games to BLG, it's because the early skirmishes go the way of BLG by and large. And BLG very, very good at having multiple playmaking options to come to the party. Baytron coming in with the ultimate. Knight on the roam very fast and early. Knight been at every big play so far in the early game. Has been very crucial for them. There's Annie coming up with dividends. And the important thing is, it's the gold going to Elk at the end of it. The end result is Elk getting fed. And this Sire, Elk being fed, is nasty as hell for top esports to deal with.
Okay, 369 going to try and punish Knight. Was a little bit late to this bot side wave because of the fact that they'd played that top side. Equalizer comes down, not that effective. Knight gets his stun. On's there. No! It's all gone wrong.
On has been a man unleashed as well on the Rakan. Knight good damage calculations, has the Molten Shield to get out of the Equalizer. 369 clearly thought that Chris would be there earlier than On, and he was right that Chris was there early, but he didn't realize how quick On was going to be on the roam as well. On's Rakan has been incredibly important for BLG, although Knight actually, as it stands, does have a stun, but under turret.
Gets Knight down about half, overcomes this Shinzao, who won't quite have flash, but will have a Wind Becomes Lightning and an Audacious Charge. But I think with On still around, it's a bit problematic. Force Knight to back away a little bit here, but nice attempt there from Chris. I'll give him that.
Really well played early game from BLG on the whole. I think Knight and On, the way that they both move around the map has been absolutely crucial. As we were saying before, the multiple playmaking opportunities from BLG, typically the way that they come away with these snowball wins. It's been a while since we've consistently seen BLG like this. Typically, in this split, BLG would be down 2 kills to 6 at this point in the game, and they'd have to kind of claw their way in through some nasty side lane plays later, and they didn't quite have the brawn to make that work. This is what we wanted to see from BLG back on form. I think it really helps having Baytron on that global ultimate as well, so even though he might not always be in perfect positions, it's the chemistry is yet to be built up perfectly. The fact that he can be there with the ultimate kind of papers over that fact a little bit. Dragon's now going to get started forward.
In the early games, for my money, haven't been as problematic with Baytron. They've often found bits like this, been great. The mid games, I've had some issues with. There's been some serious throws.
May I remind you of Baytron going into Raptor steals, dying, and then throwing the whole game, getting 5 get behind.
That's fair. There was... Oh, well, that's 369 dying. You might have to wait a second here as he's rolling a couple threes. He's away. There's still some scissors to cut him down. Can't quite speed out with the phase rush and an Nimbus cloak.
That is a tilter. That's a tilter. Don't think he expected Bin to teleport down to the plane. Now the problem is you have the 3 grubs for BLG, which they claimed earlier, used now to get a huge amount of gold and potentially the whole first turret on the next wave. Knight will teleport over to the other side of the map. I don't think they can do much to stop him there. Maybe if Alistair were there with ultimate, if he's not there right now, Knight should just be able to clear out through the wave. And his wave clear actually, you know, fairly significant once you get a bit of AP and some levels into your W, the cone thing. The cone of cold from D&D, except
that's disintegrate. Yes.
That's the one. Gets through that wave well.
That's the one. Well, we'll see if Baytron on the Pantheon side of the match at this time. The last time I remember the 5k gold throw by BLG when they engaged horribly at the bot lane. Like, they've done that little bit, and again, for all what the early games have gotten better, not perfect, but they've gotten on the whole better. Again, that horrible Raptor invade notwithstanding in recent weeks, the streak had largely been predicated on those good snowballs beginning, and then some mid-game questionable overforces, shall we say.
Reminder of why these games are important, by the way, because I was a reminder of stakes, but like the cow kind in chat. BLG, if they win this series, will lock top 4. They will lock top 4 and get themselves immediately into the double elimination portion of playoffs, which is actually the way that playoffs used to work in LPL. The top 4 would get you through to that portion of the competition. I believe, no, was it top 2 would get you there, and top 4 was likely to get you to it. That was the one. Yeah, I remember how playoffs work. Top esports have already locked themselves first seed. They are playing for pride. However, these kind of games are really important. It's the last stop you get before playoffs comes through to really prove you can play with the best of them.
On throws down the quickness. Crescent Guard buys time for Kanavi, and he's now stood off from his squad. Topside Creed now looking at Knight. He was down a level because he's done a lot more roaming, but the damage, absolute foul there, gets the stun into Tibbers. That combo really nasty right now.
And now he's on the weak side of the map with like a 3rd HP. Crisp has popped his ult early, actually, predicting some more damage to come through. Crisp really struggling on the Alistair. This is a huge support diff.
Feel like it, but the team in general just split a little bit here. Cream, of course, left about half HP as the needles keep flying.
It stopped his recall.
And now Cream, unfortunately, much like the dessert, will eat a lot. I'm going to say eat a lot of needles. I don't think most desserts have needles in, but maybe they do for top esports. Jackie with a barrier! Make it rain! Slow stays alive!
I have no idea how Jackie managed to stay alive through that one. Surely there should have been that extra bit of damage, but even 1,000 gold ahead, Elk can't quite get himself a full kill. Looked like it was ult for ult trade Jackal will be able to come back with the Bloodthirster and stay alive in that mid lane. I love to see top LPL teams take the mechanical checks. They are players that should be good enough to put that on the line and say, look, I'm better than you. I can play my champion well. Catch this. Both AD carries try and go towards that in the mid lane. But more importantly, in the top lane, Knight does the same thing. Knight roaming early, making plays, surviving on the side lane too with the help of On, and this time just completely bodying Cream. Cream is 0-2-1. He's 1.5k behind. Knight is incredibly fed with a 10-stack Dark Seal, which puts him another 700 gold ahead of him artificially as well, just from those stacks. This is a huge mid and support bit.
Of course, Feats' strength got picked up a little while ago, courtesy of the turret and, of course, those early kills. They're in a great spot right now, 4,500 gold up. The leads are looking unlikely to slow down anytime soon. The Gwen also now involved a bit as well as really helping her.
Yeah.
Set of kills. Then comes the Pantheon. That's very deep, but it does force people away from the tier 1, and that's enough, I think.
A little bit worried I was thinking, mate, you're going to get punted into tower. On going forwards now.
Comes that teleport, 369 down, and the equalizer. Oh, BLG, the mid-game forces can sometimes be a bit scary. They'll throw down some stuns. Knight still holding on to this. Flashes with disintegrate. Doesn't land it onto Jackie, but Christmas still split off. Bin with the hallowed mist. Also creates a sanctuary away from Jackie and Kanavi. And despite it looking a little bit dicey, BLG got away with it.
That's less of an equalizer, more of, you know, set value to 0. At 369, gets no value with the ultimate. He's 0-3-0. The Rumble, which he's had so much success on. Every team has had so much success on, it feels like, across the world for the last goddamn many years. And Rumble's been so OP. Gets nothing done. This should have been the fight for top esports. This is a clump into a choke point. Alistair holding the front line with the ultimate down to. It just doesn't get enough done. I think there could have been like a bit more of a vertical line, diagonal, bottom right to top left, and maybe that would have got more value. You also didn't have the bullet time in this though. If you had the bullet time, that could have been it. And let's be honest, I suppose BLG took the fight knowing that was down.
I do get that 369 was trying to catch Elk there as his primary target, but didn't get more than a single tick, and it wasn't enough. That'll be dragged to BLG as well. They're now at 2. The snowball continues, and it doesn't show any sign of stopping. Looking like an avalanche right now.
This is very difficult for top esports to play, because now you have a point where you have to overforce to get basic cooldowns from BLG. Now, if you force very hard, maybe you can get you know, some defensive peel out of Rakan, and more importantly, something like the Summoners and the Ultimate out of the Desire. If you can manage that, that's a huge win for you. When Elk has everything available with this kind of lead, he is very rarely the person to throw a game like that. I do get worried when Elk is put under pressure. He's behind the game. He's more likely to do that, don't get me wrong. But I think in this kind of game, that's a problem. And also the secondary issue now is too, you have to kill not just Desire, but the Annie. This Annie is fed enough to also carry a team fight. For those of you that haven't seen as much Annie in the recent patch, they do one-shot people. It's going to teleport to this top side, and 369 is probably dead.
369 gets to walk fast enough where the needles didn't tag him at all, so no additional slow, which I think would have been enough
killed.
then.
I was expecting one of the last 2 points of the needlework to hit, not quite accurate enough there from Bin. And that will actually, importantly, open up a bot lane outer turret for Cream to take for free. That will be an objective bounty, and Yzir gets a little bit more gold in pocket, which is so needed for top esports.
Bullet time drop mid to clear the way, but the problem is there's still a Herald that's about to charge on in, and you've got 3 grubs. There will be mites coming on down. Kanavi now looking for an angle, but fake one in the Herald, so not necessarily the easiest jump target. They will take that turret, jump onto the Jin's out, try to turn around as the quickness comes on down. Kanavi flashed after the Crescent Guard, keeps up alive for a second, gets into the Herald for a second or two, but it immediately dies. But hey,
another turret.
And they get another turret, and all the while they can head topside again.
You do have Elk's flash coming back up now too. So top heels had hang on a second. Is that a problem? Maybe not. Here comes 369. Maybe they can find another choke point fight.
Chris, headbutt back onto On, but he just gets to flash and then battle down to where the equalizer is solid. 369 doesn't have flash, so it can't get over the wall to really threaten. Cream still got a shuffle flash out from Baiton, but it means he's not here. They can't find him though, and not they knew he flashed. Now actually look at Elk stepping up with the deadly plumage. Can look for some more feathers. It's a bird of prey over the shuffle as well. 369 still waiting at the grunt camp though, as Baiton throws a spear.
Very lucky escape there from Cream, as Knight doesn't get the stun onto him with the Tibbers. It's a low cooldown. Sure, it's not the biggest cooldown to use now at this point with all of his cooldown, but still. Cream gets out alive, and importantly 369 overstays though.
We're looking to try and play for the wave, and they just can't. Grand Starfall comes on through, and 369 has a mech that has been punctured. Eat better drill.
Not going to lie, these are the kind of fights which could throw the game for BLG. I'm still a little bit worried that they're walking into these choke points The equalizers feel like they should be game ending. It's just the follow-up to pin them in place that hasn't really been there. Now, see, Top East, well, they're trying to use this brief moment with every ultimate down from BLG to push out some lanes, but even then they're getting punished quite, well, being threatened on the push-up.
I think you've kind of hit on a very important point there, because I think the answer is we've seen BLG lose those in recent weeks in the mid games. It is very throwable. For all, we're still seeing some great hands from BLG. They are winning them. The snowball is fantastic. They're up 6,000 gold. Some of these moments are riskier, I think, than perhaps they need to be, giving potential windows back in for Top Esports. I'll note 1.5 minutes until Soul Point. It's not like BLG haven't won the fights that they have taken. It's got them to a very strong point. They've got 2 items across the board. Look in the inventory of Knight. That Dark Seal is fully stacked. Medjai's on Annie. When you already get a lot of move speed courtesy of the Molten Shield, can be very annoying to manage.
He's had those 10 stacks for about 5 minutes too. He stacked this thing early as hell. Reminder, the biggest plays in this early game were On and Knight, just turning up unexpectedly very quickly around the map. It was very, very potent. Knight, of course, gets a bunch of free magic pen from his ultimate too, so he doesn't even need to go towards like an early voice staff or whatever into like the quadruple nitro coming through. On, he's caught out a little bit here, but Rakan is kind of unpickable.
Trying to play him, and now Crisp is again living a little bit too close to his namesake here. He's ready salted, folks. All the while, the Emperor's Divide comes on down. Oh, and goes down, and there's Eagle Eye wrapped for the bullet time. Not awful. Forces Elkin Bay trying away. Keeping Bin split off, but the Hallow Mist buys a lot of time, trying to slow him down. I've got a lot of needles running. The needles buy a lot of space, but they are still down a member, and the health bars aren't fantastic. Atakan is there. 40 seconds to work with. The Top Esports want to force that a thing. Doesn't look like it.
I'm surprised that Knight didn't choose to just kill the Alistair as he flashed forwards. Misses 369. Hexgate over now. Knight down a flash. Missed a couple of them this game, actually. We talked up his Annie pretty big. Missed a couple of those big stuns now. Oops. Top Esports end of that play. Get themselves 1 for none. Great timing on for that knock-up onto Cream just as he came out of the teleport. Problem wasn't quite clean enough to stop the ultimate coming through. Get a ton of damage. So on... And at Knight, we were just... praising the both of them. So 369 very, very nearly caught on the recall there, but somehow got the advanced notice. Guess because the Atakan was aggroed and he spotted someone walking up towards him. Vaitron did just use that ultimate, forced the flash out of Cream.
Yeah, it's a big one there. And we go towards the Dragon with Cream not having that flash, but I think we might be looking at another fight. Knight does have the ult available, and of course that stun is fully stacked, ready to go. Control wards being fought over in the banana bush.
No equalizer.
Have it. No equalizer, and that means Dragon. Importantly, Soul Point for Billy Gaming.
On the Hex Tech Soul as well. That is not what she wants, because every time you get into a fight now, that Chain Lightning, the slow is a killer. Such a killer.
Taste my lightning, player.
Slightly ruder than that. You are really going towards your Jack Black lines recently. Hey, he's a very quotable person. Very quotable person. So, the game has actually calmed down a fair amount from the early game. We are still 6,000 gold to the advantage of BLG in this current game. The upgraded boots coming through from Knight, actually, choosing to go towards the feats of strength upgrade to the Ionian boots. They're cheaper.
A lot more efficient than they used to be.
A lot more efficient than they were. Less impactful, but more efficient, which means that often people will upgrade them a little earlier on. Very hard to pick off, as we were saying before, trying to clear out a bit of that warding. Doesn't quite manage to get that one on the Atakan. Na'Vi starts to go towards this. Recall coming in from Baitron doesn't have ult. They might have just caught a window, but the jungle's not there.
Trying to get back. Of course, Hex Gates are a thing. Makes things a little bit tricky to stay in range. I'm not sure if they've tracked Baitron's ult back cleanly, and actually Top Esports pull off it. They could have had a window there, and the observers knew it. BLG, however, didn't have their jungler on vision, though, so Top Esports didn't know.
It's just really hard to catch out one side of the pincer. BLG are just saying, look, okay, you're not going to pick up the Rakan that easily. He's going to stay on the flank. You can't combo him down that well. And he can still teleport in at some point, and it's choosing to now. It's a little bit far on the teleport location. The Atakan might be down already.
Crisp's seen a lot of damage there. Will headbutt in. They go! Oh! Not quite as Kanavi that is securing it in the end. The bullet time after Solid, though, makes it a little bit trickier, as they are still now down 2 members. Atakan secure, but at what damn cost? Creep doing his best to find some value, but Baitron already got the shield bolt down, and it's BLG who win the fight. Despite Ian's calling on the smite.
4 for Atakan, and that's not a worthwhile trade. Atakan doesn't win you games in the way that it could do on previous patches. Top Esports lose everyone in the fight, and it's so hard to disengage from so many engaged options. L doesn't even need to get a clean flash route. He just needs to flash in for auto attacks. He is so fed on this side, especially now after that fight too. BLG will stick around, use their 3 grubs, take another inner turret, and Top Esports, if that's their one big fight that they were looking for, it does not really feel like they got any value out of it.
That is unfortunate. I want to see the replay there because it got very frustrating past a certain point. I think the other thing is just check Crisp's health bar through that fight start on our page. Boosted with Atacon keeps draining him away.
Knight finally goes towards the Magi as well to get all right. Okay, go on then. Gets himself some move speed on top of it. So 2.5 minutes until Dragon, BLG get an inner turret. They get to push in across the map. Top Esports have not been able to enter BLG's side of the map for a very long time. Top Esports only have a single turret taken in this room. It's been very dominant from BLG. The thing which confuses you on the kill field here is that an objective bounty has a yellow border, and typically that is your steal.
Yeah.
It is not the case here, because what it is the team securing it when they are behind the game. So it's not a steal. It is very confusing, though. Go into the big fight. Big play here. Elk ends up surviving through the Zero ult, which means that Jackal has no chance to kind of turn and burn onto a single target when another one can't hit him. So good ultimate there from Elk to make sure that he's still in the fight.
Could have been a lot worse there. Yeah, I got baited by the yellow border, I'm not going to lie. Sorry.
It's not the first time, and you are not the only caster who have done so. Now, I've trained myself for these moments, because I've seen too many other people fall prey to that nasty color language. You know, like...
I'm not going to lie, the other thing was, I had a slightly awkward position where I was leaning into the mic to get myself in a good position. And man, I didn't quite catch the right-hand side of the screen properly.
Oh,
so
I was going to look for it. It's the only thing which tells you who seals the goddamn objective.
It was a foolish mistake. Another way, Beichuan. Got vision here himself. Doesn't have the flash. Burned it in the last play, but just shielding people. Does have that ability to ground starfall towards, say, something like Bin, so you can see what his angle is here. Knight was on vision. Getting himself into a little bit of danger on coming on over. They'll get an electro harpoon. That's about it for now.
And Knight could have used the stun onto Chris, but wants to make sure he's got his ability to stun someone up with a big play. He's actually been very disciplined with his stuns onto the Alistair. He doesn't want to put his damage into the Alistair, potentially get ulted, get ult comboed by the Alistair, and then have no stun up available after that point. So I actually wonder whether he should have been a little bit more aggressive onto Chris, though. Just remove that tool, knowing that he's safe with the members behind him. Knocker comes through. This is a choke point, though. And they go quickly out of it. So the equalizer, bullet time could have been huge as Knavi went forwards there and used the ults.
Quite quick on the trigger pull this game, and I don't necessarily blame him, as he's got to try and play frontline, especially with Crisp kind of being apparently down ult as well, because BLG have been pretty unrelenting here in terms of blowing a lot of those cooldowns. Zaya now at the Infinity Edge on top of things like those early flicker blades. Puts her in a position where she can just get through those rotations so damn fast. And no one building armor right now, so with the exception of the arm guard, feeling pretty good here to just go through the raw damage build. And that's Soul being picked up by BLG in real way for Top Esports to contest.
Damn, I mean, normally we have like extended setups for the Soul Top Esports to say, look, there is no way we're going to fight from this. And the Panther comes in, might not even win it after.
Jackie's in trouble, gets stunned up, doesn't find a fantastic angle to turn around as the lightning begins to fly. So does the flyer. Every bad weather. Herman flash shot forward with a disintegrate for his cream in a desperate spot. Gets the wind becomes lightning out and tries to slide away and does so, but it's not Jackie about to dry as the feathers hold him in place. And the AD carry falls. Chris now being hit by a load of needles as well, and that's ensured that
the JDG Knight Classic gets the Knight Annie combo midway through the fight. The stun onto Cream ends up putting him down, and Top Esports have no way to contest the battle.
And straight on over to it. Knavi does have a ability to audacious charge into the back of the pit. Look for a moment. 3k HP, not quite yet. Wind becomes lightning, misses. How? He missed that, he just missed time, it. Knavi gets knocked up, Crescent Guard comes on down, and they'll blow him up.
Baron briefly regenning, but not enough. So that is going to be a huge fight for BLG. They claim the Baron, they can walk back towards their base, get huge item breakpoints. Yet again, you'd have to imagine. And look to close out this first game. The Azir turret being put up provides a little bit of a safe spot. The most important thing is this is something that Knight would do all the time back on JDG with Annie. You think the initial engage is over, but he has just that extra bit of engage to make sure the fight goes on at that snap engage in the middle of the fight. Elk gets the combo up with the extra feathers too, but the fight really starts again because Top Esports think the fight is done. Knight says no.
And Ben still got a load of needles to work with and pins Chris to the board. I thought it was just butterflies you pressed. Apparently it's pals as well. That was the line I was trying to go for and fumbled mid-fight.
You press leaves as well, I guess, or flowers. On, you're not catching this guy. He is very, very mobile. I think On has been absolutely exceptional. On the Rakan, he has been very, very crucial for BLG. BLG have often lived and died by the form of On because he has such a high ceiling, such a low floor at the same time. Great root there from L2. Cream on the other side. Sadly for top esports, Cream has barely influenced this game. Barely influenced it at all.
It's not like he's played truly awfully. He's gotten a lot of, like, individual gold in terms of the CS. You know,
yes and no.
Like, it's like the shuffles haven't been there. He's not stayed alive in fights.
Yeah, it's a hard comp to play when you're behind. However, he couldn't do anything against Knight when Knight was roaming early. He didn't get any lane advantages and didn't stop Knight from roaming as well. I think either of them would have been highly valuable. And in the late game, he's not been able to team fight at all. Yeah. No value out of this Azir pick. It's been very painful for top esports, seeing that their mid laner has done effectively nothing this game.
20 CS lead at 15 is nice, but when the kills on the other side have been problematic, and Cream again chunks out here. We were worried a little bit about the range discrepancy this game. So problematic when the poke can do this. And Bin will get to walk into mid lane and snap out that inhibitor.
Hex stack, Baron buff, 5 members strong, pushing down for 2 inhibitors. Top esports, you have had your chance at comeback fights. It is a shut door now, and I don't think a window's been open to replace it. Walking in, they don't have the anti-flash to really push the fight in, but they'll get themselves triple inhibitors as Bin cleans up the bot lane.
Pick up another one. Good news for them as BLG throw a lot of feathers. Crisp ults, but feels a little bit late for that one. Down to 10% HP already. Doesn't get any value additionally out of that. I suppose stays alive is the honest answer. Let's go back to the fountain to heal back up. Will not be tanked in the slightest now, coming into what could be the final stand here for top esports.
There are so many waves crashing against the defenses of top esports. Alk has the ultimate, he has a Ricard, and he has a kill.
There comes the deadly plumage, and we said without the ult he wouldn't be all that tanky. He tanks a couple turrets off, but the damage here is done. 5v4. Must toss esports try and defend this base. Indigo is on, and everyone else is switched off in short order. The barbecue, no more gas in it. Rumble has gone very still, and the rest of the team tries for something. It's a good shuffle from Cream, but it's the only one we've seen this game. The base falls, and BLG strike first against top esports.
In an important series to lock top 4 for BLG, they strike hard, and they strike first. Gen, Ornn's decent at disengage, but just not tanky enough. Does he want to beat the side lane and just hope that the rest of the team can survive? Goes towards the Ornn, wants to help more towards this. Doesn't go towards the Unbest, so it goes towards the Ornn. So it is tank versus tank. Go back 2 years ago to JDG versus BLG, Bin versus 369. And I would have called you an absolute fool for saying that Bin would pick a tank. 369 has always been the tank guy. Criticized Bin after beating him so many times back to back, saying, look, you play for the 1v1s, I play for the team, and I win. BLG, they need to be very, very aware that if they get caught off by a Talir ultimate, they die. Talir and Sion can force fights very, very well. Top esports are typically very good at planning in advance to draw in those kind of engages. Now, regular seasons have typically been very good. Let's see if the crowds have got anything more to give their teams. Was that a Hanwha? Or So some defensive wards put down. We'll spot that entrance towards the jungle. No one cleared any wards at the first level. Any interesting... Oh, it is the on-hit. It is on-hit, Elk. Okay. Don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like on-hit for the Varus. I really feel like you need to be able to stay safe. The on-hit Varus not going to get... Hang on, is there a flash forwards from Crisp here? Not going to hit the hook. Knight knows he's safe behind that wall. We'll be able to get one ward down here. Nautilus, typically very good at invading like this. Good arrow across 3 people, gets some damage down. No jungler coming over. Crisp will have his hook back up there. Currently tanking the blue buff, which isn't helping right now. Knight put down. Is there a smite going to come in range in time? Not quite. Going to start a hard resetting. That means that Beichuan gets a bit of a lead. Arrow back into late. And Crisp and Jackie, they've taken way too much damage from this 1v1. Crash down over. But Kanavi's back over the wall. But the Ignite down. On hit's going to help a little bit. Remember that Varus resets are really nasty. Kanavi gets one camp. But now look at this. Beichuan down into the bot side of the map. This steal takes so long. And the buff resets. That Kanavi is very far behind. And they very nearly lose themselves a kill as well. On loses both summoners, but I don't think they care that much about it. I guess with Chris being able to pop his pots, he can start threatening hooks, but let's see what Beitron can do with potentially a lead on the jungle clear.
Oh, could be his best champion. How are you all doing, folks?
Doing alright, doing alright.
Alrighty then. So, Jackie doing his best here on a Jhin that he has kind of grown to be pretty proficient on over the last year in a lot of ways. We've seen a lot of success from him, particularly in the winter split.
I mean, he carried a game versus T1 on the champion. Back at Worlds last year. I mean, the quarterfinals were awful, but this group stage, the Swiss stage game versus T1, he didn't even use his flash once in that game, and he slaughtered the eventual world champions, despite falling to them later on. T1, as they often had to do, scaled up through the tournament after a bit of a more rocky start. BLG in this game have given top esports a rocky start themselves. Beitron, as you were saying, I think arguably between this and his buy-ins to Juani, those three champions, I say, are his best champions in general. And he has the ability to do a lot of damage to the likes of that Sion, typically so impervious in that front line. But I think in a game like this, when you have Yone and Lilia and the on-hit Varus, you do need to be careful about your positioning for 369, but that's rarely something which I'm worried about for 369.
Our eyes on it. So far, so good. The tank v tank matchup was something that 369 kind of convinced Bin to finally change his carry ways. He doesn't play carries anymore or anything like that, but of course, in 2023 in particular, it just felt like Bin could never get an edge over 369 because 369 always had this additional facet to his play. The Ornn was one of 369's specials, ironically, and Bin here having a bit of a rough time of it early, but hey, welcome to Sion thing.
Because 369, any tank was his thing for a long time. It was actually very surprising to me that in World's quarterfinals, if we bring up that tournament last year, was so poor on the Galio when he picked it up. Beitron going to be forced off his Raptors now. Knight actually coming over to potentially help take away, secure some of those Raptors. Kanavi, though, still manages to get ahead of the individual jungle matchup. The invade has still worked out for him, despite the fact that Beitron manages to recover most of his bot side quadrant. When Navi was looking towards it. Knight's looking for a reset anyway. It doesn't matter too much, really. The Qs were blocked by the minions too. And on trading HP bar in this bot side.
Jack throws out an auto there. That's about it. As Knight unbinding sword, but goes straight across the unraveled earth. He gets shunted back again. Ow. Does want to look for that reset, but still being kept in lane here as the wave keeps getting shoved. Cream's a little low on the mana front though. They might both be looking for that reset, and then there's still second wind.
Second wind Dord shield.
Yeah.
This is why mid laners hate playing against Yone. You can get a good trade, but you have mana. He doesn't. And he has a bunch of regen before you have the ability to one-shot him. Knight will be able to stay actually for an extra wave now, knowing that Cream does not have the mana. Despite him being a little bit down in CS before this point, still gets a perfectly fine first reset of the game. And that's with him helping out his jungle on the Raptors too. And of course in the level 1 where the invade came through.
Bit of a clear discrepancy currently, though, worth noting for the side of Kanavi. I don't know who picked up the scuttle crabs. Does look like initially there was one in Baseline, but Chris, that was a little dicey. Ended up hooking the turret, throws out the moat, knows that one was a bit of a mess up.
Oopsies. By the way, Zareth, thank you so much for the reset. 9 months in the channel. Damn, it's a hell of a long time. Beitron actually
60 more to go, mate.
Beitron spotted out the the ward from there was a ward by Beitron spotted out, sweeper from Beitron spotted out a ward in his jungle, but choosing to keep up his clear speed, knows that the dragon is still on the other side. The most valuable thing you have as a jungler is time. Kanavi last game didn't use it effectively because Elkanon absorbed the 2v3s very well earlier on. Beitron trying to get the most out of this by walking to the enemy top side now. Kanavi gets that dragon kill, but Beitron, because he ignored that ward, could have killed it for the minimal extra gold. Can potentially go up here and take a camp. Crisp is coming up, but there is a smite. We'll take it away, and there's no contest.
Should be able to get the scuttle crab respawn here as well. The Crisp being around makes it a bit dicier.
Because there's Cream with ultimate too. This is where actually the game gets a little bit difficult. He doesn't have the smite now. That's why Ornn's coming down, but you have Sion here anyway. This is a very dangerous play.
Nice body block, but in comes the Weaver's wall, knocked up by the decimated fast Beitron. Still got the flash. May need to pop here. Flashes it onto the seismic shove. Can't quite get far enough over. And Cream on the other side of the wall. There's no way to play that.
It's a predict. He flashes before the icon comes up. It's not even a reaction. It's a complete prediction by Cream. Gets a first kill, doing a lot more work than he did in the previous one. Now Kanavi might be in trouble. So he just used his W. That's a problem.
Onto round, flash, shattering strike, looking to get some damage down. Kanavi in danger. Ignited, so there's no healing. Flashes away for safety. Flash over the seismic shove. Gets that kill. Nice punish. Jungler for jungler. But now Bin in a 2v3, but has the Forge God to summon. Recall over Crisp. and that's a kill for the Ornn. Fate sealed them from Knight, who's looking to punish. Beichuan's death will not be taken lightly. Trying to get another kill here. The Clash Down has to come on through. And the Soul was rebound. Can't quite secure the kill there on Cream.
That is a very important extra punish. Kanavi massively overstays. I don't think he understood where On was moving on the map. And BLG, when they have looked good, it has been through Knight and On typically getting involved in plays. Knights, of course, at the end of that play, but not really the star of that one. That was very much on Crisp coming through to help out his teammate pick up that extra kill. Importantly so, because it means that both junglers end up dying. And that time we said, which is so valuable for them, isn't in one side or the other's advantage. Beichuan said, hey, this is potentially his best champion. Doesn't make a good showing of it here. And he flashes before the icon really even starts showing. Doesn't look like it in real time there. Cream, fantastic prediction from him. Secures that kill. As Kanavi just doesn't expect the position there from On. Spots Chris coming through. As the flash, W is used on the Raptors, and the sweeper doesn't quite see him. That is a tight timing.
Nice observing there. Bit problematic. And not them flashed over the seismic hub. Cream have been hitting a lot of those. Beichuan already having fallen. Obviously, it was a bit damned if you do, damned if you don't at the back end of it all. But there you go. Crisp caught at the back end of it all, and they bring Crisp down at the end of it.
One of my favorite things about the Ornn is this ult appearing on the minimap. It's very easy to cast it from the minimap itself. On doesn't have flash now. This is going to be the start of the Grubs. Top Esports really angling towards this, though, but Cream's not here just yet.
Be able to pick up that next one. Lilting Lullaby comes down onto 2. Kanavi's in danger. Look at Blue Blood, massive seismic shot. Makes it the 1-for-1. Reset comes on through as Kanavi has the bodies to hop through. And keep making it cha-cha slide style because he's got a lot of hops this time. Turnaround is pretty good there as Beichuan. A little scary with those Qs. Not a lot of mana on 369. Ends up being...
Cream, an extra flick. You can try and chase down for an extra flick coming through. That's why they have to turn and fight. Flick comes through.
Oh, managed to hold the line there for a long time. And then the decimating smash brings down an additional 2 for the top laner.
Particularly when Talia gets to walk next to a wall like that, she can continue the play. So while it looked like the play was maybe over, Cream knows it's not. And I think everyone knew it wasn't there on the table going, he's going to get in range for another flick. Huge plays by Cream. Cream already getting involved in more kills in 9 minutes than the entirety of the last game. He gets involved very, very importantly at the start of this fight. He's not even here once the initial CC lands. But after the delaying of all of this comes through, if the Q coming through, he gets here in time, double flick over, and Cream makes the difference happen. You get a reset from Kanavi, you can get that Yone Soul flying forwards. You still have the Sion ult beyond this point. BLG, they massively overinvest onto the Grubs.
And try to run away afterwards, just not quite fast enough. Watch Cream here, look how fast he is with that ability to go surfing.
Yeah, and at this point, it's like, we were already like, oh, well, you know, the fight's over. He's going to get the move speed, and they do not have the ability to get out of this one. Extra cooldown comes through, and out. Walks back into it. I think he was actually clean out. The walks just straight right, and then the double smash, double kill.
Have to call it out as well. I feel like in the last 5 minutes, I've seen Cream hit more double pushes than single pushes. Like, the guy just keeps getting multiple people with his seismic shoves.
It's incredible. You know, his Azir last game, not impactful at all. Talia, absolute opposite of that. And BLG are now down 1,500 gold. That is completely opposite of what was happening in this last game, including 1,000 gold lead for top lane. 3-0-2 on the side. Now, BLG do have anti-tank tools, but the tank is going to be much tankier at this point in the game than potentially they are prepared for. Also has a lot more wave clear with an early Hollow Radiance coming through. Been not at his Sunfire Cape item until just now, actually. Decided to use his passive to see that. And now we get to see, okay, BLG, you're playing from behind now. You snowballed well from ahead last game. You're against the 15-2 current top place team in the LPL. You don't get to play these games for free.
Trying to Soul, the seismic shove hidden slightly by the turret there. Nice little cheeky dent there by Cream. Also note, for the bot lane, Jackie's about 20 CS here as a result of some of the waves dropped because of these plays. So feeling very happy on this Jhin. S369 understandably being highlighted right now. That is a mighty Sion involved in absolutely everything so far this game.
On, we'll spot the... Wait, hang on a second. They might go for a play here. They have the Lilting Lullaby. Beichuan gets a triple sleep.
Oh, that could be a problem. Knight can now look for the fate sealed into the backline. Kanavi about to burn out. Massive knock-up. They get everyone. It's beautiful from BLG. What can they do from behind? How about ace the team fight?
Sweet dreams, top esports. Beichuan is the nightmare steed. Triple sleep from around the corner. Uses the swelled seed to hop over the first target. Hits the 2 people behind him instead. And just while we were crying, crying wolf, I guess, people just like, oh, they got to play from behind this time. They're surely not going to be able to play against, our current top team in the LPL, because cleanly as last game, Beichuan proves us wrong. Difficult early game for him. But this swirl seed over the top is absolutely beautiful. Not spotted up until just now, and the double swirl seed catches out the stack positioning of Jacula, and of course Kanavi as well. Yone over the top, and they fly into a triple brittle proc into a quadruple knockup. That is monstrous from Bin. 2 years ago, this was the top laner in this duo that could not play tanks. 369 was flaming Bin, saying, you just play for yourself. You never play for your team, and that's why I win. That tank play evens the gold up from 1,000 gold advantage to near enough even.
All of those numbers have flipped around. Huge damage from Baytron, but of course, that's not bad for a tank. Turning around now as On goes in for that massive Magnet Storm. Spirit Cleave comes on through into a Q3. Chris managed to buffer well through it.
Arrow.
The arrow. Kristen's danger. Flash on out. There was the ward there that gave a little bit more knowledge of where he was firing from.
It didn't, but still, summon it down. Another good play coming through from BLG. Just forcing the HP out of top easily. BLG are masters of this. You want to learn one of the hallmarks of the LPL style of play, which has fallen a little bit into the wayside now. You go back to a couple of years ago, and it was the LPL scrappy fighting all the time. BLG still hold on to that for this reason. By taking enough HP off of the person, they have to leave the map. By taking a summon off of something, you can't use it for the next objective fight. BLG take chunks of HP bars to force you back. They take summoners, and they take abilities with long cooldowns as win conditions, smaller ones in themselves. And in that play there, just being able to get the cooldown off of Chris, the HP so they can't go for the invade, they consider that a win as long as they don't over-invest into it.
Saw the gold graph on the bottom of your screen there as well. A bit of an EKG, that one. That is a heart attack of a drop-off.
Yeah. And it's just insane from Baytron and Bin. The triple sleep, quadruple knockup. BLG playing so much better in the first 10 to 15 minutes of the game than they've done for the entirety of this split. This is what they were trying to rekindle. Baytron said in interviews, look, I'm just going to make aggressive plays so the rest of the team can tag on, because they're good enough players, and this is me kind of, you know, my interpretation on from that point. But he was saying, look, I'm just going to make aggressive plays to make sure it's easier to follow. BLG have good enough laning phases, they have good enough mechanics to make those openings work. They've always been like that. They've been a team through Knight, Bin, the magical plays from Elkanon as well at peak as well, which can kind of break the rules a little bit, where you look at a composition and go, yeah, they're probably losing this, but somehow they still make it work. That can still be an issue sometimes, because you get false flags to say this is a good draft. No, it's not always. They don't always make that work. Knight has a turret to fall back to, doesn't have flash.
Q3 in a dream. Try and get over the wall, does so. Tries up the seismic shove. Where's the Fate Sealer? They're teleporting down for him. No, they're not. He's going to try and do a bit of damage here in the 1v3, though. Tricky position. The Fate Sealer Solid gets out of the R as well, but then still the depth charge available, and he can't run far enough away.
He buys a lot of time, but it's not enough to stop them from heading towards the tower. Top Esports will have their reset onto the Yone. It goes a little bit too far. Did he buy enough time for any cross map to come through? No, not really.
Herald.
There's a mid lane push. The Herald goes down. Okay, so the Herald... sorry. The Herald hasn't started. So he hasn't bought enough time to make a difference on that point. Cream, you know, credit to him again, still being very active in this early game. Does mean that Kanavi's not on this top side of the map for the feats of strength to go down, which will be the third objective of this Herald being taken. Potentially that being slammed into mid lane turret a little later.
Well, Baytron's going to do that thing where he presses Q a lot on Lilia. Takes that, and that is indeed the feats of strength, all the while Bin gets a wave shove top, so buying 3 people's time and all their ultimates will be enough, I think, for Knight to be okay with the death there, as frustrating as it was, and I'll give him credit for dodging as much as he could there. And all the while, we now find ourselves in a mid-game where BLG have managed to earn themselves a minor gold lead, and I do mean minor here. It's only 100 to 200, and again, did get mitigated again a little bit by the fact that that turret went down bot side as well. But they are in a convenient enough position to play the game out, as 369 is a little trapped between a potential...
He has flash and ult. It's just, in this kind of position, again, this is where we return back to the conversation which we've been having all split. Look, folks, this is a bit meta at this point. Dragon spawning in a minute, I know we'll have to talk about that too. One of the biggest things we can do is a pseudo broadcast, and this is what you would have learned if we were, you know, a professional broadcast on an LPL channel, broadcast on LPL Esports. We want to give you easy takeaways for the region, for the teams, and for the players. For the region, the thing which I've been really talking about for the last year, really, has been about cooldown economy in the LPL. Typically, teams play around Dragon timers. LS has been talking about this on Twitter, saying, hey, 5 minutes of Doom, everyone plays for the Dragon timer. I will dominate. Myself and others say, okay, LPL doesn't always do that. We have teams like BLG within this region, sometimes Weibo or Invictus Gaming as well, which will play for a chunk of your HP. They'll play for a summoner, they'll play for a cooldown, and that can allow them extra options around fights, which you wouldn't have if you didn't blow that beforehand. Stuff like Chris not having flash up until this moment, it opened up other opportunities. Dragon is now spawned, and BLG have all of their flashes available to them, and in this case, Chris has the flash back up. So actually, the cooldown economy has come back to even, but BLG were fighting hard to see if they could get an advantage up until this point. Couldn't quite do so. Now have to fight evenly with all ults and all summoners.
Well, Seed lands. Doesn't get propped there into a lilting lullaby from the Arbor. Can you give this dragon up? Would rather play instead, suspect, for a bit of mid lane pressure. Because they don't have Herald to work with, so it's not going to lead to all that much. Ben's going to head towards that bot side. H1 debating, looking to see whether there's any camps to steal on his way down here. As Knight's also around, and they have got the Herald to work with. They can make this a pretty aggressive shove.
They don't have to use the Herald. Now if they do use that, now the problem is they need to kill this turret before the Herald goes down, because the Herald actually does a lot less damage to the first target. Yeah, you can charge into the second turret, because actually you need to kill this before it goes down. Try and use the Talero, but it's dodged away from.
Nice.
Good driving, Baytron, and that's a lot of damage. The first hit does more damage from the Herald now, but the second and onwards do less. So they use that first hit well to quickly get a huge chunk out of that bot side turret.
Good value there. A little bit of damage back onto Knight, who ends up going across the unraveled earth just briefly. But turret secured. A nice play there to get even more damage down. A while. We are now looking. In the mid-game, where, as we said, BLG have managed to eke themselves a lead. I think it's a little dicey after Sion and crew got some good stuff around the Grubs fight. It's not anywhere near done, of course. Top Esports can make this a competitive game as yet. Well, it has been the entire time, but I'm just glad it's not seeing BLG fall away from the play.
Yeah, for sure. I think BLG with that comeback fight on bot side makes this an interesting game again. Knight is not going to get hit by that hook. Uses that ult, reaction ult, just saying, okay, that was bloody close enough, but loses that ult for a hook from Chris. Well, didn't need to. You understand the mindset of it. Much better to press that ult and not need it than not press it. And absolutely needed to at that point.
Finds a lot of wards in the bush, and so we'll clear some of them out. Is Cream, who does get that turret. Of course, the second turret now done for Top Esports. And again, when you've got the Taleo, when you've got the Sion, you've just got that slightly bigger range to play with in terms of your response timers with teleports and ults to work.
So, even in gold, again, just within 300 gold. I love to see this now, because for me, I was saying before the game, I think that Top Esports team work a lot better when the game is a little slower, and I think, actually, in slow games, they get to move around the map and, respond to plays, are the best macro team within the LPL. I think Anyone's Legend can sometimes be up there too, but I think that Anyone's Legend are more about their, very tricksy macro with slick lane assignments and kind of plays around from out of fog of war, and etc. Top Esports, I think they are better at the typical meticulous form of macro, the vision control as well. They're very high level, which means that even when they throw an early game sometimes, as they have done against some below tier teams, even though they are 15-2, it's not been without some worries, they've been able to walk away with winning games. BLG, they will now have to contend with that from the even playing field.
Look like that'll be the case as Beijwan cleans up a little bit more of these camps and is beginning to a very scary part in this Lilia. Of course, we'll note as well, Kanavi, the way he's building, is going to be this crit build. This tends to go into an immortal shield bow as the second time. You get yourself 50% crit, and you get yourself to a pretty scary point. Because remember, your ult does do quite a lot of damage when you get some crit to it. I believe it's even got some crit scaling or something to it as well.
Yes, your ult and your Q have crit scaling, which is why the Collector and the Triforce are often quite good. I will say, though, on the whole, Collector does fall off quite hard. Even if you build it as second item, feels pretty crap. First item, fine. Really is that second item where you'd much rather have a more reminder or Lord Honest Regard beyond that point. Ultimate through. Cream does have flash, might have to use it, doesn't so far.
Gets in danger as he gets Shattering struck. The seismic shot not enough, but the Mankstorm keeps him in place. Goes down afterwards, double kill. Over to Elka, the Fate Seal came on through. They murder everyone who turns up, and 369 is here. He's gonna clear this wave, nothing else I can do.
Oh, bloody hell, the front line's not there. He's just trying to clear the wave. He can ult out to safety, but BLG, they pounce quickly. And Top Esports, who we were saying so good at meticulous, slower macro, fall apart to a quick play from BLG, which they can't respond to in time. The snap engage tools from BLG were absolutely clutch there. H1 been the architect of the big fights coming through. 369 stops there being a wave to push in towards the top lane turret that easily, but it's a lot of gold from kills. It's an Aztecan going down, which gives them some value. And once again, Top Esports caught out of position this time. Cream flashes early. I saw it on the hop, I saw it in live. It's like, oh, it's still up. That turns out it was just before that point. Can't escape beyond that point. Sleep comes through. Ult comes afterwards from Knight. You can get into melee, which doesn't actually end up catching the person at the back end of that, but hey, he's got auto attacks for that one. And BLG walk away with another huge fight.
That is a big, big moment. Feels like these wombos are becoming really difficult for top esports to manage, especially if the phalanx isn't arrayed in the proper formation. 25 seconds on Dragon. Atacam was taken by BLG. Noting as well, of course, Baron not spawning for a few minutes yet, so if there is going to be another fight, it might be around the Dragon, but hey, of course, when it's down for top esports side, they might just want to say, no, we're going to take it quiet for a moment or two.
Another important factor of this series, and this is more of a mental one, and more about, hang on a second, Mike can engage through here, he's unstoppable, it's fine. BLG winning this series means there is only one team in the entire LPL that has a 2-0 head-to-head against them. That'll be JDG. BH1 in spot 369 catches out Crispy. Could actually go for a double sleep if he wants. Gets caught out by that Jin W. Not doing that much damage to the time right now, which is a little bit worrying. Now suddenly been caught out a little bit. Gets caught out of that E as well. Dragon started.
Dragon started. I think it's just about finished. There we go. Rover roams Beige. Right now the corner four's got his summon interrupted though. And a seismic shove afterwards comes on through. Bin now in danger. Will manage to get the Bella's breath a bit of time as Beige on the backside. Gets the sleep. Kanabi tries to buffer his way through it with the Heartbreaker. But he's about to die. Call the Magnet Storm. Burning. Does finally fall. The reset comes on through as both junglers die. Gonna find some more damage. The shots just wide, and Ben just keeps dodging. Finally brought low. Is this another 1-for-1? The Yone traded out with Chris Bin, though, on the wrong side of this. Could potentially break the wall to escape, but I'm not sure there's that much further we can go. He's in a 1v3 while Searing charge forwards.
I mean, hang on, wait, if they overchase, they'll lose mid-turret. It might end up being an extra kill. The slow comes down. He'll have another unstoppable coming after this point. They're gonna take mid-turret because Bin's taken so goddamn long to die.
He can keep charging away. Sion's found him. I think he probably does die here eventually. He does a decent amount of work buying time, but mid-turret for that is fine. 2 for 3, and you get a turret, and you get a dragon.
Exactly. With Bin dying, it's an extra kill added on to top esports. They get the 3 kills, BLG get the 2, but it's a mid lane turret, which opens up a huge portion of the map. Of course, BLG have not lost their own there as well. They have their mid lane out turret, and they get themselves onto Ocean Soul points, with Zhonya's going to be coming through on Beige One. Very valuable having Zhonya's plus Ocean Soul, and the Ornn, which, as we've just apparently seen, evidently takes a long time to die. Another great swell seed from Beige One. Allows him to potentially come through with a big sleep. I actually wonder whether he should have pulled that through there, but I guess with the cleanse on the Jhin, it feels a little less valuable. The CC chain onto Ornn is disgusting. However, don't actually end up killing him afterwards as easily, right? Beige One and On. I think there's a bit of a mistake there as Beige One steps back into the play and On is not body blocking the hook. I think if Nautilus hooks the Rel instead, I'm pretty sure that Beige One kills him with an extra Q. So maybe a bit of a mid-fight mistake there from On and Beige One to communicate against each other as Knight flew in at the end of that play, trades in a 1-for-1, caught out with the CC as he went in for the kill.
So, leads us with BLG, with Soul Point, that extra turret. Gold within touching distance, only 2 or so thousand just shy of, really, for BLG in the lead. So, there, but not exactly uncouch-upable. Unthrowable, maybe perhaps the correct term, as I used a word that didn't exist in the English language, but there we go. We love to make up new words here on the channel. Wards being fought over here in BLG's red side jungle, because next on the docket will likely be something like Baron. Rev up now, unavailable. Kanabi looking for a Michael hit, but the Chase of Corruption! It was blind! He's going to go down surely here, and they've just lost their jungler and Baron's alive. You've got a Lilia and an on-hit Varus.
BLG have been putting top esports over the barrel with all of their quick engage tools, whether it's a Magnet Storm, whether it's an Ornn, a Sleeper, in this case the Chains of Corruption. BLG have been holding top esports and their sloppy positioning to account. Now with no Viego, no resets, no jungler, they are in a difficult spot.
You've got 2 on-hit carries plus a Lillian. Baron will get melted. They're going to try and play one out. Into the backline goes Knight, who gets absolutely popped by Jackie. The problem is the rest of the fight don't look so pretty. 369 goes down and turned into a zombie. Beige One hopping on forward. He's so damn fast. Tries to get some damage. Put back.
Beige One!
And he just goes down. Tries to keep chasing onto Crisp and Jackie. And Crisp just says, no, you don't.
Why is the rest of BLG taking the scuttle grab if Beige One wants to go for the kills? What should have been a clean Baron, a clean Dragon kill, rather, with the other one. The jungler kill into a Baron, or at least the team fight afterwards, actually ends up being, what, 3 for 2, all things said and done, because Beige One goes too far. Clearly a miscommunication with the rest of the team, who was stuck taking Scuttle Crab.
I hate to see exactly how that end play went, because it looked like a fine moment for Beijing to keep going forwards, but everyone else just stopped.
Well, that's the thing. It becomes a not fine moment if your team's not there with you. So yes, I think it was fine to go for the kills as long as the team is there. So there was a ward. So it's not, no, it's not blind. He kills the ward, and there's still a vision onto him because the dying ward still gives him that, the orchestra attacker onto it. So was on vision, didn't look like it necessarily in live play. We do have Ornn items coming through for BLG. It's worth noting they're ahead in gold and in terms of the stats from that, and they have the feats of strength too. So they have a lot of extra gold, which is not visible on the scoreboard at the top. Baron started again, but this time it's full 5, and Knight wants to kill Cream!
He's just going to keep autoing him. He's dead. Gets stunned up briefly at the back end of it all, but that's just an important solo kill. Knight breaking the back of Cream.
The 5th time, I would say, 5th, maybe 6th time, where top esports are actually in an okay spot to contest somewhere on the map, and the quick engage tool from BLG completely forces them into the gutter. Knight, this time the architect of top esports' demise, will not spot the members of Kanavi and 369 trying to catch him out on the sideline, but this is what they've been reduced to. Smoke and mirrors around. Fits the brush. He's going to find them in that brush, and will quickly find a Q coming out of it. BLG onto the Baron. There is a smite this time. Kanavi can ult over the wall to get into the pit.
Ben gets interrupted mid-call the Forge God again, but that means it's time to turn around now onto Chris. He does get a decent depth charge, all the while still looking for another Q3. Gets that Mortal Steel through the backline. Bejon continuing to blooming blow people. Jackie doing his best to play the nuts. Kanavi does get the reset. Still going to be slept apart as he will not get another one. Tried to play it out as the shots from Jackie get a bit scary. Smoked, hit with that Q. Watch out, eat! And he eviscerates the enemy player. We always knew it was an acronym.
BLG will kind of muddle their way towards the Baron, but they have basically just realized at some point in this game, all right, doesn't really matter if we throw it at the Baron. We will find another quick pick attempt. They've been very, very clinical in finding ways to put top esports into 4v5s after quickly picking someone off with so many fed members. Elk's ult, Knight's ult, and every single member at this point. I'm not going to list off all of them. You can see them on your screen. And after this, Death Timer on their jungler. No dragon after this point too. It's going to be an Ocean Soul to BLG. Stacks up his Q on the Krugs, gets the knock-up, gets the ult afterwards, and Cream is well out of position, goes way too close to Fog, where it can be hard positioning like that against the Yone. Knight finds that quick pick, and then suddenly, well, you 4v5 without one of your biggest damaging members.
A little bit dicey at the back end of it all, especially with things like the Forge God getting interrupted. But still, so much consistent damage with this squad, and sure, you managed to hook one member briefly. The depth charge is nice, but this Jin hasn't found a good moment to really get involved, and Kanavi will get a reset in this fight, but just can't keep bouncing. Imagine how much easier it would be if you had your Talia here. A big important part of that damage profile as Elk gets that passive stack nice and fast on the Varus. The flash on out from the Heartbreaker meant no ability to pop him from high HP.
Can I just say as well, this is the case for this game, maybe a little bit of last game too. Free 369 rather. 369.
Yeah.
This game has been utterly sublime on his positioning on the side. He's been trying his goddamn best. The only gold lead here. I think 369 has been very, very good in this game. It's just not mattered. Top esports caught out of position far too many times, despite a very good start from Cream on the Talia, who caught out a lot of people from position. 369 still trying to play the smoke and mirrors, trying to get an ult into the backline. Be a bit weird in regards to his ability to walk up and catch someone. By the way, that's an upgraded Molten Edge onto Knight, by the way. They can potentially ult towards him. He doesn't have a flash. He has a Q. Just get out. Stacks his Q. Knight playing very safely, respectfully. And the long-term plan of 369 rather falls apart as the tower falls in the mid lane.
Looking then in the jungle as well. Look at the difference between the Lilia and the Viego. 3-6-2. Kanavi's not had a great day, has he? See this occasionally from this player, where if things start going wrong, he often looks for the risky plays to get back in. It can just start looking a little bit silly. We've seen it on the Viego perhaps more than most champions.
BLG have stamped their authority a little as they sound the clarion call, get on towards Cream, no flash, ults on top of him, dead Talia.
People might have stopped going to the temple, but these have always been the old gods of the LPL of late. And let's be real, when you're calling Forge Gods top esports, don't look like they have a spear of Longinus between them. They are going to have to manage their base being broken in multiple locations. 4v5 again because Cream is dead. Nexus turret between BLG and a 2-0 victory over the #1 team in the LPL.
Ocean Soul, 5 versus 4, no Talia. They have ults left and Knight. God damn, that's a lot of damage.
He is so damn scary. 369 flashes away. Crashed down Magnet Storm. The Ferromancy. And BLG prove their mettle. And they can mold it to their will. They will go 2-0 and do so in BLG fashion. With blood, with fury, and with a hands check galore.
BLG will lock themselves top 4 in Group Ascend and guarantee a playoffs position for themselves. The rest of the teams with Invictus Gaming this applying to as well, who are fighting for that last spot, will have to play part of the play-in to get towards the double elimination part of the LPL bracket. BLG, they have changed their jungler, they have changed their coach, way out. Maokai as the coach, out. And they have walked away from Group Ascent now with at least a 1-to-1 record versus every team